Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Night Owl, a show that we do twice a week where we talk about all the latest in pop culture news, TV and movie reviews, gaming news, and just general conversations of the day. For those who don't know me, I'm Price of Reason, and with me, as always, is my co host, Professor R2. How's it going, Professor?
Oh, it goes. Yeah, we're here to talk about all sorts of things like Star Trek. Yeah. But maybe we'll talk about some other stuff first. Because, well, Star Trek is, well, it's awful.
Great.
Oh my God.
It's the best thing ever happened.
So awful. Oh, yeah, it was great getting to hang out with Robot Head, chat about some of that stuff earlier this evening over on his live show, the Trigger Warning Show, that he's getting back to doing every Thursdays. More people need to join in. That's a great, fun show. But yeah, oh boy, spending most of our time talking about Starfleet Academy. Yeah, that's rough. Oh,
Rough. It's one of the worst shows I've ever seen, in my opinion. I think
it's astoundingly bad.
Like, when you think of one of the worst shows ever made, and especially with the kind of budgets they have, I think it's fair. It has to be in the conversation.
It is not Star Trek.
No, not at all.
It's not sci-fi.
Nope.
It's not competently written.
Nope.
It's like they try to do a drama with like all of these like weird plots out of a sitcom. It's so bad, and I'm so worried. The rumor is, of course, that next week we're gonna get Cisco in there, and God, if there's one character I don't want them to destroy that they haven't already ruined, it's Captain Cisco, because I love that character. I'm not even sure I can bring myself to watch next week, but I know I will because I'm some sort of masochist. I don't understand, but whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a teenage telenovela in space, but not even a good one. I've seen like teenage telenovelas that were more well written than this. Like, laugh all you want at the original 90210 show, but I would still argue that the one with like, with Dylan and Brandon and Brenda, I would argue that show was more thoughtfully written than this stupid show. I can't believe I'm going to say that. I'm telling you the truth. That show, as much as you want to laugh about it, was more well written than this. This is just embarrassing.
It's pretty bad.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? Even for the dumb genre that it's going for, even it's incompetent in that, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's bad at even that.
It can't even do the stupid thing that it's trying to do. The ill-advised thing that it's trying to do, it can't even do that. So, very embarrassing, so the whole situation.
Yep.
And
lots of other situations going on out there. What have we got to?
There was something today that I guess Trump seems to say that he's going to announce a new Fed chair. Now, I keep hearing rumors about who it may be. Do you think who it's going to be that he's going to choose?
There's been a few names that have been floated. I'm trying to remember here. Yeah, he says he's going to announce it, sometime, probably, I think he said maybe tomorrow, possibly. I don't know. But who knows? There's been rumors like that before. But
do you think it's going to cause the market to kind of go up a bit? Because I feel like a lot of people are going to be very happy if it's somebody that's very different than the guy that's there now. I don't think that many people like Jerome Powell. I don't think so.
No, I don't think he's particularly beloved by a lot of the people that are up there. I think a lot of people have. I think the mask is off. That he is in fact been playing politics with some of this. Yeah, Pete Rubble mentions Bessett. That's one of the names that's been out there. But right now, if you go look at some of the betting markets that are out there, the biggest name right now is Kevin Warsh. That sounds like I'm saying wash in a southern accent, but his name is Warsh, Warsh. He's kind of the front runner, at least in the betting markets right now. There, there's other names that are out there. I'm trying to remember. I think one was a woman, Judy Shelton.
I don't think he's going to choose her.
No, I think it's pretty likely that she will not be the choice. But yeah, there's a few possibilities out there. Yeah, I don't know. The betting markets seem to be pretty on top of this kind of stuff, and in fact, there was recently some stories talking about maybe why these betting markets are so on top of stuff. Price, have you seen some of these stories?
I don't know. Maybe they have a leak. They have some kind of insider knowledge.
It seems that perhaps there are some insiders who are hopping into these betting markets and playing them because they know what the decision is going to be ahead of time. So there's insider trading essentially happening in these betting markets, and you've got some of these people who are hopping in and using it to make a quick buck, which seems like that surely ought to be illegal. But since they're basically they can create anonymous accounts to go in and do the betting on these platforms like Kalshi and
Polymarket, yeah.
That it sounds like one of the reasons maybe these betting markets have gotten so good is because there's now a bunch of insiders who actually do know the outcome, who are in there throwing their money in and taking their winnings when they can.
I see.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's I thought that was interesting. But yeah, Besant, possibly, but yeah, like I said, there's been a few names. Kevin Warsh might possibly be the pick for that. But I think we'll know probably, but if I can talk, we'll know probably pretty soon exactly what's going on there. So
yeah, let's. I'm hoping that whoever it is that he chooses, I'm hoping that it'll be people that are, friendly when it comes to rates, friendly even when it comes to crypto. I feel like a lot of stuff has stalled with this Jerome Powell guy. And sometimes you can say, well, somebody has to be checks and balances and he has to do what he believes is right and all that stuff. And you can also argue that Trump himself is the guy that appointed him. I'm not sure why he appointed him, but that's the guy he appointed years ago. And he's still like a leftover from Trump's, I think, first tenure or whatever it is. So not really, he can't really blame Biden for that because I think he appointed him. But I will say that it's always been clear that this guy was always very pro-Biden for some reason and not pro-Trump. And I don't think there should be a guy sitting there and making decisions like that based on political preferences. I think that there's something very wrong if the guy is in that role and that's the kind of decisions he makes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He continues to maintain that he makes these data-driven decisions. He's doing the right thing. But again, I think the mask is off. I think a lot of people have seen that he does tend to be playing things a little bit with the market. Obviously, when things were not going so well economically with inflation, he was willing to drop it. So, right before the election, hopefully boosting Biden or Kamala's chances of winning. Then after Trump took office, he wasn't willing to adjust the interest rate, even though the economy was improving, and saying, oh, no, this indicator, that indicator, whatever. But then a lot of people were looking at the same stuff saying, we've got an economy that could be booming. You're holding it back. What's going on? So, yeah. Obviously, he's out on May 15th, Jerome Powell. So we'll see what happens with the new,
Yeah,
the new
yeah, it'll be
person.
nice. I think that whoever's going to come in here, listen, you never know. You think one guy is bad, and you never know who will come in his place. But I have a feeling that to be more annoying than this guy, I don't think you can really be. And in my defense, Professor, I for a very long time said, and I'm not even Mr. Finance. I told you there was something I didn't like about the guy. I told you that, like, I didn't invent the wheel, but even from that second that what happened, that I saw that during that election that he was like helping boost the economy before the election, that kind of annoyed me, because people were waiting for a long time for him to cut rates. He suddenly starts like aligning everything before the election, and once the election happened, I told you this guy I think is a problem, and I told you I've never had a good feeling about him, and it ended up being, again, I'm not Mr. Finance, I'm saying it just kind of like an instinct, but I think that in this case, the instinct ended up being correct.
Yep. He does seem to be a bit of a partisan, and that's not what we want to see playing out in that role there. Obviously, if Trump has his opportunity, he's going to be putting somebody in there who's partisan. Hopefully, it's somebody who's going to continue to look at the economy, look at all the indicators that they have, get advice from other members of the Fed, and look and see, what is the best choice for us right now. We don't want somebody who's going to be going the other way, right? Who's going to be pushing interest rates when it's not smart, when it's going to help speed up inflation and increase inflation. We do want somebody who is really managing that and is focused on making sure that inflation is coming down, but also balancing that with the performance of the economy. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see who that name is. It does sound like it's going to be somebody who we hear about fairly soon. So,
yeah. Yeah. So let me think for a second. Before I just saw somebody was writing me a whole thing here. Somebody wrote me like a whole something on Twitter. I can't look at it now. But let's see. Oh, out as chair, but he's still on the board. Is that true?
I don't know.
Let's hope not.
I'd have to look and see. I thought he had said he was retiring, but I mean, he might still be on
I
the
would
board.
hope so.
Know. But in the end, whoever's on the board, they really only get to make recommendations. It's the chair that makes the final, final call.
I will also say there was something else that happened, and I think that this happened over the past day. So much stuff happens so rapidly these days, but did you see that there was a video that's surfaced with that nurse guy from Minnesota?
Oh yes. In fact, there's been a couple videos, Bryce. There's a couple of them. One of them coming from, of course, the reporter on the ground, citizen reporter Nick Sorter, who's been really covering a lot of the stuff that's been going on there. And then a lot of people. There was a ton of people who started to say this is AI, this is fake, this was made up. And then there was more video from someone else, another protester, who had been recording video, and that video posted the exact same encounter from another angle, which has really complicated the idea that this was in some way manufactured.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, listen, even with everything that's being said, and even though this guy, in my opinion, was doing everything wrong, like we've been talking about common sense, and the kind of stuff that he did is beyond anything common. It reminds me also of the other lady. Neither of these people, in my opinion, exercised common sense, and I still am not happy with both of them. With the fate of both of them, because I feel kind of like they were. Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead. Go on, finish it up.
I was going to say I feel like they were brainwashed and they were misguided, and I think that both of them should have exercised some common sense. However they felt, there's ways to protest, but what they did was the kind of stuff that if you have armed federal officers in the middle of an operation and you think you're going to go and start kicking around and spitting and kicking their things or hitting them with a car, this guy has a gun on him, And if I'm not mistaken, and I don't know for sure, I could be wrong on this. I think that in Minnesota, if it is like a protest or something like that, I don't think you're supposed to bring a gun to that. I think that.
Well, yeah, I mean, if he had a permit for being allowed to carry, then he's allowed to carry. It actually, if he's in public.
Is there a stipulation though that
if
it's a protest, you can bring it and not bring it? Isn't there a stipulation of sorts?
There might be some little law somewhere in there, but I don't know exactly where that might qualify. At what point it crosses over to something else. But he did have a permit for the weapon. He was carrying. Is it advisable? Is it a smart thing for you to do, to go and aggressively engage with law enforcement while armed? No. Because if they see that you are armed, you are now a much bigger threat. You are now somebody who is going to start, upping their anxiety level, right? It's gonna move up and make them, their response is going to be heightened because their emotions are going to be heightened because they're going to see someone, openly carrying a firearm who's engaging with them as law enforcement officers. And again, as having known law enforcement officers, having known people who are police, people who are sheriffs, they want to go home at night, right? At the end of their shift, they want to go home to their families. They want to go home to their wife, to their kids. They don't want to get shot on the job. They don't want to die. And when they see somebody who is being extremely aggressive to them and is armed, that's just setting off all kinds of alarms in their heads. Now, Again, I am not dismissing that he died in this tussle with the, Border Patrol, agents. It was not ICE. It was Border Patrol that was involved with him. But they're on a similar mission, backing up Immigration and Customs Enforcement, arresting criminals, arresting criminal aliens, removing them from the streets. Criminal aliens that could be removed without any ICE presence at all if the governor, the mayor, the people of the state were cooperating with ICE and reporting when they had criminals in custody, reporting when they had engagements with people who had lawful warrants, who had lawful detainers, and who were had orders for removal. They could hold those people and then just let ICE come get them, and they would go away. I don't know if you heard some of the stuff that the mayor was saying we only have 400 cops, something like that. We're not going to have them on the streets going door to door arresting people and sending them. Nobody's asked them to do that. Nobody.
Yep.
No one's asked them to. Oh, we're not going to arrest our neighbors, whatever. No, nobody has asked them to do that at all.
True.
Legally, what the federal government has asked, and they ask every state, it's actually required of these states. They're technically rebelling against the federal government in not doing what is required of them under federal law. All they are asking is honor these detainers, honor these warrants, honor when you find someone, when you encounter someone who has a lawful order of deportation, hold them and let us remove them. If they did that, they wouldn't need 3,000 agents in Minneapolis. They wouldn't even need 1,000. They would send people there when necessary to remove these people who are criminals, people who have lawful warrants, detainers. They have documentation saying they lawfully are to be deported from the country. They're not asking the cops, they're not asking any law enforcement in Minneapolis or any of the surrounding areas to go door to door looking for aliens, to check people's papers, any of that stuff. But they're refusing to do the easy thing. And so now we've got to do it the hard way. right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a really crappy situation to be in. I've told you before that I myself, it's not that I love the idea of being, especially people, and I always say this, there's probably people that if there was a good system in place and maybe there was some kind of amnesty or whatever, there are certain, situations that maybe such a thing could happen, or maybe a legal path to doing things. The problem is when you just open everything and you just millions of people flood in from all these places, and sometimes from bad places and different countries, and you just dump so many people in so many places suddenly, it really causes damage,
It
to,
does.
to the system, to society. It's like if you had a cafeteria, and every day for like 10, 20 years, 30 years, whatever it is, 100 years, whatever, you have like 100 people eating in that cafeteria every day, and suddenly one day there was suddenly 500 people, and 400 of them were, you didn't even know who they were, and they came from maybe even some of them were coming with bad intentions from a bad place. And now how do you adapt, like, so quickly? And a lot of these towns, I think, in a lot of these places, especially smaller areas that a lot of these people were dumped, it really affected the fabric of their society in a bad way, and nobody cared. And yeah, sometimes it leads to crime, it leads to a lot of other things. I'm not saying that every person is bad. I'm not saying that every person that came is bad. I'm not saying that there weren't people that maybe were in trouble and they wanted to come here. But I think that as a country back in the day, we could absorb, if it was done in some kind of moderation, we could absorb, and maybe there was a better system, we could absorb some of this stuff. But effectively, in my opinion, happened during the Biden era is that it became so over the top and wacky
Oh,
that it's not something that you could just ignore anymore.
what happened during the Biden era was that they simply stopped enforcing the law that legally they are required to enforce. They just decided, we're not going to enforce this. They decided that instead of saying, in order to come here and stay here, you have to apply for amnesty, or not amnesty, you have to apply for asylum. And then we hear your case for asylum, and then if it meets the legal standard, it's approved. They said, nah, everyone can come. Anybody. Doesn't matter if you're going to get approved for asylum or not. Oh, and by the way, we're going to change the standard for asylum. So basically, if you come here and tell me, well, I can't make enough money back home, that meets that meets the qualifications, which that is not anywhere within the rules as to what you are supposed to be for asylum. There is no such thing that exists in the law of the United States as economic asylum. Doesn't exist. Asylum is there for specific reasons, for persecution, for religious reasons, political reasons, whatever. You have to flee your country because you're going to be killed by the regime because you're a political enemy. That type of thing, right? Not, well, I can't find a job back home, so I have to come to the U.S. That's not how you are gaining asylum. But they opened the floodgates. They stopped enforcing the laws. They let hundreds of millions, well, not hundreds of millions, tens of millions, come in to the country, and just said, yeah, go for it. And they didn't just do that. They also turned around and they gave those people, as they walked across the border, as they got off the plane, when American dollars were spent to fly them here to the United States, they got off the plane, they gave them free cell phones, they gave them free money, EBT cards with thousands and thousands of dollars of American taxpayers' money on them so that they could come here and they could go, do whatever. They put them up in hotels. 3- and 4-star hotels in New York City were overrun with illegal aliens who were imported here by the Biden administration. It was complete and utter madness. And that's the problem. That's what we're dealing with now. And the truth is that the Democratic Party was not always that way, right? They did not always say every illegal should come here always and be welcome and free. This is a completely new idea. This is only it's less than 10 years old. To say that, well, Democrats now support completely open borders and not enforcing any of our immigration laws. That was not the case. Actually, I've got a video here. Some people might have seen this, Price, but you can share it here if you put it in presentation mode there.
Okay.
This is from 2010. This is everyone's favorite president on the left, Barack Obama. the articulate young black man who was elected to office twice, talking about immigration.
There are those in the immigrants' rights community who have argued passionately that we should simply provide those who are illegally with legal status, or at least ignore the laws on the books and put an end to deportation until we have better laws. And often this argument is framed in moral terms. Why should we punish people who are just trying to earn a living? I recognize the sense of compassion that drives this argument. But I believe such an indiscriminate approach would be both unwise and unfair. It would suggest to those thinking about coming here illegally that there will be no repercussions for such a decision. And this could lead to a surge in more illegal immigration. And it would also ignore the millions of people around the world who are waiting in line to come here legally. Ultimately, our nation, like all nations, has the right and obligation to control its borders and set laws for residency and citizenship. And no matter how decent they are, no matter their reasons, the 11 million who broke these laws should be held accountable.
I'm not going to say that I agree with Obama on a whole hell of a lot of things, but not a word of what he said was wrong.
No, I agree with everything that he said, too.
Every bit of it is correct, and every bit of it has remained part of the conservative and Republican platform for decades. A lot of people don't remember that back in the 1980s, Ronald Reagan, we had an immigration problem then. We had a lot of illegals who were in the country, and there were a lot of Democrats at the time who were arguing that we needed to give them some kind of status so that they could work here and whatever. And so part of what they did to help to alleviate that problem was that Reagan agreed, we will allow these people, we will give an amnesty to these people so that they can register and they can remain here, they can become citizens if they go through this process, and allowed exactly what a lot of Democrats are asking for. They allowed them to stay and they allowed them to naturalize. But part of that agreement was that we were going to fully reinforce the border. We were going to make sure that more illegal immigration would not happen. And then we were going to reinforce these laws. And then Bill Clinton, of all people, passed even more strict laws about illegal immigration and who was allowed to be here and who would be deported. And there were tens of millions that were deported under every single president for decades. Now, a lot of people referred to Barack Obama as the deporter in chief because they didn't like how many people he was deporting. But under him, they changed the way that they report deportations. So he was reporting people who were turned away at the border, basically people who were encountered and basically told, go back, like you can't come in. They reported those as deportations. So his numbers were significantly inflated. He did not deport, quote unquote, as many people as they say. But that is what he had to say about it. Now, whether he actually believed that or not, that was the statement that he made. That's what he talked about. And yes, he did still deport quite a few people. ICE was an operation. It was in operation, removing people from the country at that time while he was president. And so this whole idea, we're just going to stop following the law. We're just going to ignore the law of immigration because we don't like it. And we're just going to let all these people just pour over the border. Exactly what he said there happened under Joe Biden. If we stop enforcing the laws, if we stop ensuring that there are consequences for people who are entering the country illegally, it's going to continue to encourage more people to continue to do the same thing. And there would be a flood of people pouring over the border to get in. That's exactly what happened.
Yep. And I guess they didn't listen to Obama.
No, of course. Well, you know what I think the truth is?
He didn't mean it.
Well, at some level, he didn't mean it. But I think the truth is that when Biden got in, they wanted to make sure that Donald Trump could not get elected again. And so they were using what they could to bring as many people into the country as possible. They understand fully, and this is actually the reason that we have sanctuary states, sanctuary cities, Bryce. They know that illegals, whatever their status, people here with asylum, whatever, they're not voters. But guess where they count, Price? They count in the census.
Ah, yes. Oh, sorry, I forgot about that.
Yeah. They count in the census.
Forgot, yeah.
And the attempts to change it so that the census counts only legal citizens for apportionment have failed. They have not been passed. They have not been allowed to become law. So for apportionment, that is who gets what seats, how many people, get seats in the House for what state, that apportionment is affected by the number of illegal immigrants, asylum seekers, whatever, who are living in your area. So these states that have announced themselves as sanctuary cities, sanctuary states, whatever, they understand perfectly well that if they can attract and bring in those people to live in their state, that it is going to benefit them when it comes to the amount of representation that they get in the government. That is simple. It's straightforward. They're playing the system by pulling these people in and increasing their representation in the country. So there's a lot of wild stuff going on here with this, but yeah, I think it all just comes down to TDS, man. I think they just hate Donald Trump, and they wanted to do whatever they could to try and make sure he was never elected again, or that if he was, that they could find some way to go in some direction that would allow them to maintain a permanent power in the House, if not also in the Senate, and allow them to change change the number of electors in different states, because that's also determined by the House, and so that apportionment would change. We've got all these extra illegals here. Maybe they can't vote, but we get more say. We get more electoral votes when it comes to electing the president. So,
well, Wall Street Journal, according to Yidis, gave an update now that Trump expected to pick Kevin Warsh. So I guess people, that's what people believe, and they believe it too now.
Yep, and that's what that's what the Polymarket was saying. So yeah. I was going to say, we mentioned those other videos. I don't know if we need to watch it again. If everybody's
why does
seen
it say community notes? Who community noted it?
Oh, I don't know. I would have to look. I'm sure there's plenty of community notes. There were people who were trying to put community notes on here, saying it was AI video or throwing community. The community notes get abused all the time, man. Are you
this happened?
Are you part of the community notes thing?
I don't
on
think
X?
so. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm part of that. So I edit and approve community notes and stuff on there. A lot of times it's people who have the permissions to do community notes who are bitching and whining about stuff. They're making all sorts of wild claims and stuff. So a lot of the time when I'm in there on the community notes, it's in there saying these things aren't helpful. Stop trying to put your opinion in the notes, whatever. Like this, I mean, they're showing this. They're saying this is all AI. It's completely fake. Well, we also got another video. This is from a completely different angle that shows the exact same confrontation from a different angle. You see everything. You see him spitting on the agent. You see him kicking and busting the car. You see him getting crowded and taken down by the agents.
Why didn't they arrest him here? This is 2 weeks ago. Why didn't they just arrest him? He would have been alive if they would have arrested him.
Yes, they should have. He should have been under arrest for assaulting these officers when
this
he did.
was
So,
grounds to arrest him. That way he wouldn't have been at the next one. Yeah,
if he had been under arrest, he would still be alive. He would not have been able to be, or likely would not have been able to be at that same thing, and still, likely at the very least wouldn't have had his weapon. But you can actually see in this video, if you look, he has the same weapon he was found with. He's got it on him. He's got it tucked into his belt. He's not even carrying it in a properly in a holster or anything. Apparently.
Right, I saw it. I saw that when you freeze frame it, you could see it, and I saw all of that. The thing is, though, is that this is obviously not the description of the man from all these things that they keep saying, that he was like this kind of like, they make him seem like he's Mr. Pacifist. This doesn't look to be the case. That still doesn't mean that I can say with certainty that his fate ended up what I don't know how to explain this. I would have preferred that he would still be alive, in spite of the fact that I think that what he's doing here is very wrong, and I think he's misguided, and I even think there's something wrong with him. I still would have been happier if he still would have been alive, in spite of all of that. But this at least shows the mindset of this person, and it kind of, takes apart this narrative that this guy was just like a peaceful protester, because that's not what it looks like.
It completely destroys that entire narrative. It's funny. There's a video out there of Elizabeth Warren talking about, how
I know
his,
you mean, yeah.
his quiet, peaceful resolve and all this stuff, and then they put her little speech over the top of this, where he's screaming, he's calling them Nazis, and he's spitting on them, and breaking the taillight on their car, and seriously, this is really, this is not acceptable. Assaulting the police, damaging their vehicles and stuff, that is not a peaceful protest. Again, I am not saying that he in any way deserved his fate. All I am saying is he was engaged in dangerous activities, attacking them, spitting on them, insulting them, damaging their vehicle, getting in physical confrontations with them. He was playing with fire.
Yes.
That doesn't justify that he was shot. We will see the investigations right now. Some of these people, that have been looking into this, and some of the, some people who are have been looking at the videos. They're we're going to see, hopefully there's going to be some stuff maybe that comes out from some of the body cameras. Some people are saying his gun was removed from him, before the scuffle. Some people say he still had it. Again, it's very hard to tell in some of this grainy footage. But one thing that a lot of people have been pointing at is there is potentially there was a discharge from his firearm. Not that the trigger was pulled, but that the weapon that he was carrying, we've seen plenty of pictures of it, is known to fire when it's not supposed to. It has an issue where if the trigger has been, engaged even like a millimeter, that any kind of activity pressing on the slide can actually cause the weapon to fire. And so some people that have been looking at this have been seeing this, and if you listen to the video, there's a shot, and then there's a space there, and then there's more shots, and there's a lot of people that are speculating that what may have happened was that firearm went off accidentally, as it is known to be. It's prone to do. I've seen demonstrations of it on YouTube of this. Istofa was the 6 Sauer P320 demonstrations of this, and the issues that can happen with that weapon that cause it to negligently discharge. And I think that's a very, very likely possibility that either that when that weapon was removed from his possession or when he was grasping for it could have accidentally fired, which sent the members of ICE, the people who were there, again, not ICE, it was actually Border Patrol that was there on that day. Regardless of how much training they have had, regardless of how many years they've worked there, you've heard a gunshot go off You're tussling with a guy who you know was armed. One of your people in your group is saying gun, gun, gun. Like it's not surprising that it ended
I
up
want
the
to
way that it did.
answer. There's super chats. I want to also answer Six, and I agree with everything you've said. Six says, "Who pays for the damage to the vehicle?" So that's for you, Professor.
Who pays for the damage to the vehicle? It comes out of the Homeland Defense budget.
So that's
it would not be it would be very unlikely that it would be paid for by by someone in the protesters that damaged it. Now, if they did know exactly who was responsible for the damage, it's possible that they could hold them responsible. They could take them into court, hold them responsible for the repairs to it or whatever. More likely, though, that's just repaired. It just comes out of the budget for the agency. And legally, what he would face would just be jail time, not any kind of, or potentially fines, depending. But yeah.
So we have some super chats. Let's look at them for a second. The Dead Man, friend of the channel, he has his own channel where he talks about Star Trek. You should check it out, especially these days. Hail, guys and gals. By gals, I mean Price. Just kidding. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss, and the Fed. I'm hoping that this new guy will not be like the previous guy. I think that I'm hopeful that he will cut rates, be a little more, friendly towards markets, crypto, things like that. There's a lot of things that could be done that could help a lot of different markets. I think that Jerome Powell was like the anti-help of markets. Like he was another one of those kind of seemingly bitter people that instead of thinking what's the right thing to do, was playing, like you said, Professor, playing politics. I'm hoping that this new guy will at least be a little better, but we'll see. You never know. Mage's Guild for $10 says, "Hail, Price. I posted some stuff on X related to your Trek vid. I'm Star Wars Complained. If you didn't know, it is breaking me to write reviews of episode 3 or episode 4 of Academy. My liver's unhappy with it all." Yes, I was looking and I saw some message. I'll try to look at it in a second. But
oh yeah, we feel for you, Mage's Guild. That's oh boy, yeah. I can see why your liver might be rebelling at this point after trying to suffer through those episodes.
I also have to give a shout out here to Disparu, who basically I was working on the first 2 episodes on the review, and it was more work than I had ever imagined. It's like even episode 3, a lot of work. Like, I've done a lot of reviews. These are not reviews that you can kind of gloss over. These are reviews that you have to really dig into so many details and really go over so many things that are wrong with it that you become exhausted and drained. And I think that midway through making that first video, which was 2 episodes, it was 1 and 2 together, I just thought to myself, maybe I should stop doing this. And I really considered just stopping. I didn't feel like doing it anymore. And I posted about that online. It was almost like a humorous tweet. I think people that know me that I was a bit humorous in that tweet, but I was just saying that I suffered so much, and I don't think I can finish it. And Disparu actually answered, my tweet. And, he's always been, I just want to say that he's always been really, very cool. There were a few instances where I had issues with some video or something that going on more behind the scenes. There were a few times that he really gave me really good advice in a few very important situations. And in this case, it wasn't behind the scenes advice. He just answered my tweet and he said, "Listen, you already put the work in. Just finish the videos and upload it." Like basically. After reading his tweet, I thought to myself, well, I would be rather irresponsible if I'm not just going to complete it and do it. And I ended up, that really encouraged me to finish the videos. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that it is a very, very difficult thing to review, difficult to watch, especially if you like Star Trek, difficult to watch even if you didn't like Star Trek, even if you're just trying to watch this legitimately as any kind of show. It's a difficult show to watch. Reviewing it is tough. Did I forget something, Professor?
Oh, no, well, first of all, I will say, Disparu has always come across as a very stand-up guy. He looks out for his community. He's always cooperative. He's and really standing up for other reviewers. yeah, he is also that guy's a machine. He watches stuff that is so astonishingly terrible. He puts those videos together, edits those together so quickly. Cheers, of course, to Disparu. He's
He's very
great.
efficient.
He's
Yes.
very good. He's very funny, and he's willing to sit down and watch some stuff that. Oh man, there is some terrible television that I thankfully never had to watch, because instead I got to watch Disparu laugh his way through it, because man, there's some bad stuff out there.
Six says, so don't review it. No, you know what? I think he was right. I now that after I completed it and I posted it, it was the right advice to give me. And I appreciated that he took the time and gave his own advice on it, and I took it seriously. And he was actually right. And then I even did episode 3 afterwards, and I'm going to do episode 4. People, have given me very positive feedback after I posted those videos and said really that they don't feel like watching the show, but they kind of enjoy seeing me suffer and watching it, and then they don't have to. And I understand. I am happy to provide that service. Happy is a strong word, but I'm okay with providing that service for people.
There is a little touch of sadism in watching somebody review some of these really awful shows, right?
And no, Disparu, the thing with him is that something comes out, and the speed in which he already does his thing.
Oh,
and he
yeah. I mean,
edits
it's like I said, he's a machine. I can't believe how quickly he manages to produce and edit some of these videos that he puts out. It's really
100% agree. And they're also of good quality. So it's like they're of good quality, and he's really efficient at doing it. So certainly very, very, cool what he does. Back to the super chats. We have Mages Guild. I have an Amelia clip for you on the topic. Amelia is that meme thing with England. I think that they started it as something that like the England themselves, like the government, had her as some character, and then with AI, people are making her do funny things. Do I have that correctly?
So there was an educational game that was released by the British government. I believe the name of it was Pathways. And the idea was that this was supposed to be a game that was supposed to be, it was supposed to help you to not become an extremist. And so it presented you as this character that you played in the, is it Charlie, I think was the name of the character that you played. You could pick to be a, man or a woman. But one of the characters that you encounter is Amelia, who is somebody who's supposed to be an antagonist. She's supposed to be a character that you are not supposed to in any way feel for them. You're not supposed to want to befriend them. They're supposed to be this radical extremist who is, if you actually do decide to join up with her and her cause or whatever, the game ends and tells you need to rethink yourself or whatever. It's hilarious. I've actually watched this. It's been a little while, but I watched some of the play of this. It was pretty funny. But yes, she was an antagonist, this goth girl with purple hair who was a staunch anti-immigration proponent. She was a protester protesting against immigrants and stuff. And so you were not supposed to like her. And what they ended up doing is they created this character that represented all of these people in the UK that are like, yeah, that's exactly who I want to be. And so now it just exploded. They grabbed on to the memes of Amelia and started spreading this what was supposed to be the villain of this game and turning her into the hero of the anti-immigration re-immigration movement in the UK, which is unbelievable troll, right? That's just incredible. And the way people just latched onto it right away was incredibly funny.
Yep. So I have an Amelia clip for you on the topic, but I don't know where to find it. I mean, I understand, and if you want to send it to me, you're welcome to do. Oh, you have the Star Wars complaint. Well, if you send it to me, I'll look at it. Let me look. I can check my DMs. I won't share them, but I don't see. I don't see
Share
anything.
them. Share them. It's
No,
tradition.
it's tradition at this point. No, I'm never going to do that again. This is it. Like, but no, I couldn't find it. I don't know what it is that you're saying. You did share a tweet with me. Let me look for a second.
So yeah,
Okay.
while you're looking, I'll go ahead. I'll look at this the next super chat that we've got here. Another
what is it?
another. Oh, you can keep looking for your tweet.
I found the tweet. I found the tweet.
Okay.
But let's answer the dead. You're right. Let's do
so yeah, Dead Man for $9.99 and also a member of the channel here. We appreciate you, Dead Man. Everyone has the right to defend themselves. These are God-given rights. Even if you don't believe in God, they are natural rights as a human being. Rights are not granted by the government. You're absolutely correct. Every individual has the right to defend themselves. That includes anyone who is involved in, any kind of protest, anybody who's involved in any kind of police action. It also includes the officers themselves. They have the right to defend themselves. And if they believe their life is in danger, they do have the right to use lethal force. Was this situation, was that force justified? I don't know. I'm going to leave that up to investigators to decide. I'm not going to do the Monday morning quarterback.
No,
I watched
I
watched a 10-second video stretched out frame by frame over a minute and a half to decide, oh yeah, they did the wrong thing or they did the right thing. And I'm also not going to refer to either of these people, either Good or Preddy, as a domestic terrorist. I think that's inflammatory. I don't think it's necessary to try and characterize them that way. I don't really believe that either of them was in any way trying to get out there and do massive harm to a whole bunch of people, to do a whole bunch of these agents. But I think that they were being negligent. I think they were not following the rules. They were not being peaceful protesters. They were beyond the rights of a citizen to peacefully protest, and they were interfering in the actions, lawful actions of these law enforcement officers.
I'll tell you this, and this is it's strange that I remember this. We're talking decades. I studied. I was trying to get my driver's license, and I had like an instructor. A driving instructor. I'm talking decades.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah.
So one of the first things that this instructor said to me is he said something like, when you're on the road, because I was telling him something. I'm like, oh, why did this car do this? Why did that car do this? I was the one. I had the right of way. I had this and that. And then he said something to me like, when you're on the road, you're not supposed to be right. You're supposed to be smart. And that sentence of you're not supposed to be right, you're supposed to be smart, I would apply that also to like a situation where there's a bunch of armed federal officers trying to do a job and you've come to interfere with their thing. You could feel that what you're doing is the most right thing in the world, but there's also like a little factor that you need to be smart. And this is why we were mentioning the common sense. You got a gun, maybe best not to bring it with you. You want to protest, maybe best not to be that that confrontational with them. You can stand there, you can hold signs, you could explain why it is that you're protesting, but to also bring a gun and to act that like what we saw in this video, so unhinged. And also even with the other ladies thing, which I'm not happy that either of them what happened there with their fate. But that lady, if you're in a car and the police officers are surrounding your car and they're telling you to, the federal officers to get out of your car, you get out. You don't start driving and bumping into you don't do that. So that's what I have to say about it. That we can argue about laws and about what should or shouldn't or all this kind of stuff, and it could be maybe an investigation will say that they didn't act appropriately. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Like you said, I'm not going to go. I'm not the investigator. I don't have all the evidence, and I don't know, and I can't make the call myself. But I'll say that whatever the call is, I humbly say that in both of these cases, these people did not help themselves in any way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And let's see, there's another one from the dead man for $4.99 that he says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident. Read a history book, for fuck's sake." Yes, I don't disagree with anything you're saying. It's just that, like I said, he had a right to bring a gun. He had a right to do whatever. But when there's a high pressure situation and people are already throwing stuff at these agents and causing mayhem, and you're walking around and confrontational with a gun, this is a real recipe for disaster. It's like, it's not the smart thing to do. Regardless of if you think, oh, well, legally I was allowed to bring the thing. Maybe, but sometimes you have to think of things in kind of a more practical way, and not only what you think is a good thing, if you know what I mean. In any case, the dead man, I really appreciate it. Between the $4.99 and the $9.99 and the $4.99, I appreciate everything you do for this channel. You're a friend of the channel. Really, really appreciate it. Mages Guild also appreciate the 10 and the 2. I'm going to look for your tweet right now. It's right here, I think, that you're known also as Star Wars Complained. So are you there? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so Price of Reason, here's what I've heard. Ellison is not going to renew Kurtzman. He did have a meeting of sorts, and it went quite poorly. Until now, at least until recently, Kurtzman told the press that he hasn't yet met with Ellison. Maybe he has since, maybe he hasn't, maybe he was lying, I don't know. Skydance are very upset about how Starfleet Academy is tanking and the constant mockery that it's getting Reboot Trek, I think, something. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody could be happy with what's going on. The Ellisons are also more right-leaning, so when they watch, like, people on Fox News and all these places and all these publications laughing at them, it's probably not good. It's not that it's generating good ratings either. Sometimes if you have something and it's like getting in, like, millions and millions and millions of subscribers and views, and people are paying for Paramount Plus and everybody's watching it, you can say, well, I don't care what, like, Fox News is saying, I'm making money. But that's not the situation either. They're not making money. It's an embarrassment, and everybody's laughing at them. Can't imagine that they're happy. That's like, I don't think you need to be a detective for that one. I have not heard that Skydance David Ellison will give SFA the Batgirl treatment, but that is not off the table. Yep, I didn't hear that either. I mentioned in some report that I did that it's always a possibility, but we don't know. I mean, he could do it, but when I said, and this was my opinion, and it still is, I tend to think that if he decides to go through with it, Ellison, he's probably going to do a Disney, like with Echo. He'll at some point dump all those episodes. If it's really something unbearable that the man cannot take anymore, he'll dump those other episodes whenever he can, do it quickly, and hopefully, it'll be on its way. Because a lot of times when these shows, when they're bad, and Disney learned this the hard way, when you put it on every week, it's an ongoing news cycle between the YouTubers, between the press, between everything. It's an ongoing festival. If the show now is going to be for 2 months, there will be this festival, which is not working in your favor. So, and if nothing else, I would think that the smart thing is to dump it all in one day. Nobody gives a shite anymore. Sorry, Sean. This is as dead as Doctor Who, and has already bled more audience than Disney ever obtained in that BBC debacle. Yeah, it's very unfortunate what they've done with Star Wars, Star Trek, and all the great, and Doctor Who. I still have hope that if there's a way to just take the license or whatever, like take Alex Kurtzman out of the any involvement in this franchise, decanonize, just push aside all the crap that he did, including J.J. Abrams, and just go back to the basics and say, you know what? Original series, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, and Voyager, that's canon. The movies are like, the main cast and Generations cast. That is canon, and all the rest, nothing.
Yeah,
and
anything that was made under Rick Berman up through when was the end of Enterprise? Yeah, and then the last of the films, any of that stuff, canonized. It's part of what the show was built on. Anything that happened in the Kelvin timeline, that's just its own thing. Forget it. Anything that happened with Kurtzman's stuff, shift it off, make it so that it's part of the Kelvin timeline or something, or just, I don't know, stick it in a concrete galoshes and throw it in a pond. I don't know. Just make it disappear. No one cares. Nobody is going to be watching the stuff that Kurtzman made in 10 years. No one will care. It is dead. It's dreadful. It's going to be a just absolute embarrassment. Nobody is nobody is going to be coming back to the to that material. It's gone. It's dead. So yeah, you need to just get rid of it. And yeah, rebooting Star Trek, terrible idea. You're going to take all of the goodwill that you have from the people who love the original series, who love TNG and DS9, all these other series that happen in the same continuity. You're going to throw away all of that goodwill. What you need to do is do what they did with the Next Generation. You jump 60, 70 years into the future. You start over in the same universe with a new crew on a new ship with a new mission, and you start telling more episodic stories. Episodic, Star Trek stories. Can it have an overriding sort of an arc for a season so that there's some serialization to it? Yeah, sure. That's fine. But, make it more episodic. Make it so that people can tune in and watch an episode. They don't feel like they've missed out because they didn't see the last three, right? And then that way you can start building more of an audience. You can pull people back into the show, and you can bring in new actors, new characters, new situations, and you can continue telling the story of this universe that we've all spent time in before. We can look at what exactly happened after these heroes that we knew from the previous series retired and moved on. We can look and see, hey, here's what's going on with the Romulans. Maybe what happened in JJ's universe that supposedly connected those two, the explosion that happened there. Maybe you keep that idea, right? And you explore a little bit more about what's going on with that. Maybe you throw that idea out. Never happened in our universe. I don't know. Honestly, I'll tell you, a place that would be a great source to start telling some of these stories, that you don't have to stick to it like it's canon, but could be a good source to start pulling from, is the Star Trek Online MMO. I don't know if you've ever seen that, Price, but they basically did what I'm talking about. They took the stories that were happening at the end of DS9, at the end of these Next Generation films, and they just sort of continued on and started, telling some of these things about what's happening on the Klingons, what's happening with the Romulans, what's going on in the universe after things moved on from the stories we had seen before. Pretty good place to start. You don't have to stick directly to what was told in the online games, but it gives you a few good clues. And there's also, some pretty solid continuations of the story that were done in novels that were pretty good that you could draw from as well. So, yeah,
okay,
that's where they need to go.
I agree.
Yeah.
Anything that you jump forward in the future and you remove all the Kurtzman stuff, I think that's your best bet here. And I've always felt that with all the crap that we've seen here from Kurtzman Trek, I don't know why, I could be wrong on it, I feel like this show has the best. This franchise has the best chance of recovering if it was in the right hands and they just said, forget about all that crap. Let's just move forward. I think that Star Trek has a chance. I don't know if it'll ever be what it was, but it has a chance of some kind of rebound if they can just acknowledge that what they did is crappy, sideline it, decanonize it, make it an alternate timeline. I don't care what you want to call it, and then just go back to basics and continue. You know, and we've seen it before happen even in movies and stuff, like for example, Halloween, the movie, there was the first one, and then there was like the second one, which is kind of weird because they said she was her brother, and then the third one and the fourth one. There are all these different installments, and at some point in more recent years, they said, okay, well, we're just going to make a sequel, and we're forget about all the other sequels. This will be a sequel to the first movie. I think it wasn't the worst idea. And I think that sometimes you got to look at it and say, you know what? We made some mistakes here. Let's just decanonize all this crap and let's just, take it another direction. With Star Trek, it should be easier. Like you said, Professor, jump in the future, new crew, new ship, new adventures. Whenever you refer to anything that happened before, you only refer to the shows that we acknowledge and the movies and all those events. You only refer to that. You never talk about, like, Mikey Spock or whatever it is. I don't know, with the Holly Hunter, like the sensitive Klingon and all these weirdos.
Burn,
the burn.
The stupid fungus powered warp drives and all of that moronic stupidity. Yeah, just ignore all of that.
Yeah, and then what we have is what was it? Number 6. The show has viewing figures so low that on an investor level, it is an embarrassing mole on the Paramount brand, of course. And finally, Critical Drinker should have done a 3.
I think you said episode 3 anyway.
Done.
Should have covered it. I think he said it should have covered episode 3.
That's all I've got to say. Go away. Okay, I get what you're saying. In any case, I think that Critical Drinker, he did his review for the first 2 episodes or whatever it was, or first episodes or whatever. I saw his review was good, but I think even better is that he addressed the Mary Sue, who were basically blaming the failure of the show on him, which is absolutely ridiculous.
It's absurd. It's so funny. Every time. They do this every time, Bryce. They did this with The Acolyte, where they came on, they said, oh, well, the people who don't like this, they're not real Star Wars fans. They might own action figures, but they don't really care about Star Wars. No, you're the ones who are just tourists. You don't actually care about Star Wars.
Exactly.
All you care about is that it's pushing some message that you like. That's all you care about.
They can't explain. They can't explain why they like the new show, and they can't explain why they like the old one. They can't explain anything. It's just blaming people and diversity or whatever it is.
Feelings. See, because I grew up around Star Trek because my brother had a Christmas ornament.
Yeah, all this like nonsense. People that I can't take seriously. They never make an argument of people that actually know anything. They haven't really absorbed what Star Trek is. It's all to them just like grandstanding and some politics and identity politics and all that stuff. And you know what? There's 2 things that annoy me that these guys always say. One thing they say, and they contradict themselves without even noticing. One thing they like to say, well, Star Trek was always progressive. Yeah, Star Trek was created in a way where you had all these alien species, and through all these adventures in space in the future, you addressed a lot of things that happened in society, a lot of human things, a lot of things that maybe even tied to like topical issues of the day, but it's never in the sense that you're like, it's being like, they're not hitting you over the head with it. It's in a way that you kind of, it causes you to think. It shows you a lot of things, and it's done very well. When good science fiction like that is done well, it really brings people together and does something unique. And Star Trek was awesome in doing that. It was such high quality. And whatever they do now, that these people are even trying to pretend that this new garbage that they're making can be mentioned in the same sentence as that classic Star Trek on a storytelling level or any other level. It's like, this is part of what, like, just the gaslighting. So
and they talked about I mean, you go look at TNG, you go look at DS9, hell, even in Voyager, there are some episodes that talk about some really deep, really dark subjects. And it presents it to you in a way that you can, you can think about it very deeply without being hit over the head or feel like you're being slapped in the face and being told what to think. You've got episodes like in TNG that talk about euthanasia, right? Like, is that acceptable for a society to tell people once they've reached a certain age that they're not useful anymore, right? But it's not our society. It's their society. It's their culture. Why do we get to judge what they think? Why do we get to tell them what they're supposed to do? There's this give and take. There's a push and pull of these different ideas, our ideas versus their ideas, and which one is right, which one is wrong. But then we're not told what we're supposed to think, what we're supposed to believe about that. We're presented with different possible ideas, with different possible reasons that maybe what they think is justified. Maybe what they, the way that they're doing things, maybe that is right for, maybe it's right for them, or maybe there's a reason that we shouldn't be judging them for what they believe. And so that it was always presented as these options, these ways for you to think about these ideas without simply walking in and saying, you're an idiot. Here's how you're supposed to feel about this. Here's the right way.
And they took so many things seriously. It wasn't just some nonsense like these guys do. They don't care about the lore. They don't care about anything that happened in the franchise. Nothing has to make any sense. Just a bunch of telenovela teenagers talking about their stupid feelings, or in other cases, telenovela adults talking about their stupid feelings. There's no science fiction. There's no, real sophisticated, any kind of hierarchy, space adventures, nothing. They just, it's basically garbage in a skin of like Star Trek, and that's exactly what it was. And that they continue to try to sell this story of, it was always, don't even stop even pretending that this is the same Star Trek as what it was. That's real work that real people with actual talent made. This thing is nothing. It's nothing. It's not Star Trek. So so that's one thing. And then the other thing that they do, I was saying that they contradict themselves. The other thing that they're like, oh, you must not like diversity. It's like, if you watched what that franchise was throughout all these years, there was a lot of diversity in it, and that never seems to be anybody's issue with all of those older Treks.
Never.
So the idea that there was no diversity doesn't make any sense. This was in fact a show that was always very diverse. That was one of the things that it did, because it was showing you what it believed humanity would look like in the future, and it was absolutely diverse. And it was one of those cases where I think that it was the best. I don't know if to say the best of diversity, but it was, I don't know if to say diversity done right or whatever you want to call it. It was never anything that anybody is bothering you. It's just that they presented to you what they think the future would look like. And I think it was fantastic. And that they tried, and it's the same thing what they did also with Star Wars. Also, all this shit. Sorry, Sean.
Yeah. Well, you just remember, their version of diversity is not the version of diversity that we had for the last 50 years, right? 60 years, 70 years. Their idea of diversity is no white people. Their idea of diversity is, we need to see token versions of all these different skin colors, and we need to see tokens for all of these different ideologies, all of these different versions that they think exist of gender or whatever, and we need to get make sure that there's not any men around here that might be toxic. That's their idea of diversity, is imposing their ideal version of society on us. That's what they think diversity is. When diversity is, we've got people from all different backgrounds, from lots of different racial makeups, but we've also got people with different ideological backgrounds, different ideas, different politics, even potentially, right? We've got lots of different people in here, but at the same time, you cannot say, all right, well, better have a fat person, right? But because this is a military organization, this is not just this is not just some random group of people in downtown LA, right?
Right.
You have to these are people who are part of a military hierarchy where there are standards for how people get into Starfleet, for how they get to the positions that they're in. There's standards for the health that they have to maintain. Literally the one of the first episodes that we got of the original series that was made was the Corbomite maneuver. And at the very opening of the Corbomite maneuver, you have Bones putting Kirk through the ringer doing his physical. he's refused to do overtime, and then changing his dietary stuff because he's put on a few pounds. Right? That's like the first scene that you get in the first like regular episode of produced Star Trek. So it's hilarious that now it's like, well, diversity means we've got to have someone who's fat, and we've got to have somebody who's mentally not all there. They're a little crazy, and we got to have someone else here who's lived their life as an orphan, and then we got to have someone over here who's alphabet rainbow person, and well, no, wait, you know what? Let's just make everybody alphabet rainbow people, right? It's just so ridiculous. It's gotten to such a degree where it's just constantly shoving this stuff in there, even where logically, organically, to the story, to the universe, it doesn't make any sense. And it's blatantly obvious that it's just pandering. That's all it is.
B-roll stage has rated this stream. Thank you very much. It's very, very kind of you. That's
Thank
on
you.
the Rumble side. So yeah, B-roll stage. Always.
Hey there, Adam.
Hey, Adam. It's a. What's the quote? It's a late hour. It's a surprise, but a pleasant one, I'm sure. Whatever. What does the Emperor say?
Yeah,
it's a surprise, but it's a pleasant one. Or
yeah, it's something like that. I don't actually remember it off the top of my head. Yeah,
when he becomes the Chancellor, and they're like, oh, a surprise for sure, but a welcome one at that, or whatever, something like that. Yeah. I should be able to know that one by heart. I've quoted it before. I don't know what happened to me. But cheers, B-roll. Thank you. And yeah, check out whatever B-roll stage does. Really good streams. Professor is there.
It's a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. There you go.
Okay, so I was getting close.
You're very, very close. Very, very close. It sounded right to me when you said the first
right
time.
It was I was hitting the right notes. I knew it was something like that. But yeah that's I always love that. I don't know why I like that sentence, because he's the biggest jerk, and he's just like, it's actually
and of course it wasn't a surprise at all, because he had manipulated everything so that he got to that position, right? There was not a surprise.
And Ian McDiarmid, he delivers that line well. That's just a good scene. I know, the prequels have their issues, and you may like it or you may not like it, and they're not perfect, and I know all of that, but he is a good actor, and
Ian McDiarmid is stellar. Yeah, no question.
Does a good job there. There's nothing I can say. I think he does a good job there.
Yeah.
And so that's a good quote. What else, though? What did we have on our docket today? I'm trying to think.
Well, we've kind of been dancing around talking about Starfleet Academy, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the thing is, let me see, first of all, let me see if there's any super chats before we go on. I don't want to miss any of them. I actually have with me we're just going to suffer. I was thinking of making you suffer, Professor, but I feel bad. Wait a second. Let me just make sure that I didn't miss any super chats. Give me a second. Yes, okay, there's one more from... I'm trying to see. I can't see well. It's from Darren. Is this Darren M, I think?
Yeah.
So it's Darren M. And I'm going to find a way to share. Here at the Night Owl, only the best technology. Haven't said that in a minute. Okay. Is it this one? So this is from Darren M, I believe. Thanks for your work, Price and Professor. Look forward to seeing you on Scripps channel again, Price. Cheers all. Yeah, I actually I am one of the record holders for being the most times on Scripps show. He has a show called Scripts on Saturdays, and I think that I may not be the title holder, but I've made at least like 15 guest appearances there with him, or something along those lines. I've done it many times, and always a pleasure. Really fun show to do. So shout out to Script Doctor. Scripts on Saturdays. And thank you, Darren, for the $10 Canadian dollar super chat. Didn't even know you were Canadian until this moment. I learn something new every day. So, and I'll do a like on your thing, obviously. Now, what was I going to say? I have... I thought to myself, maybe we could go over... I don't know if you have patience for it. Professor?
Huh? For what? Patience for what?
Like I can put without volume, to show you the episode.
This? The episode?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Indeed.
Is this the... Wait, which one is this one?
This is the most recent episode.
How do you have it on YouTube?
Because that's where I did my free week of subscription.
I see.
This time I've been rotating around free subscriptions from various different places and various email addresses to get access to this without paying for it.
Well, just do a click. Don't do like that. You're moving the motion. Just click on images, and we can go over it.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, we got started in the episode with her.
So
annoying
annoying.
Out being
so annoying,
so taken by gas. All these atoms had to converge in this one place. Actually, no, they didn't converge in that one place. Most of these stellar nurseries like this actually started from other stars that blew up. So no, it's not converging. It's a bunch of matter that used to be in one place and now is expanding outward from another place. Okay. So it didn't just magically converge into a spot. No, there's forces of gravity and whatnot that, you're 400 years old. You should know this, but anyway.
Not only that, anytime you heard like, somebody like Picard, or you heard Kirk, and they'd be giving you, their star date and all that stuff. There's so much gravitas when they speak and explain it. And when she talks, it's so annoying. And I feel like they put some weird processing on her voice. It sounds so weird. Like the technical, there's something on it. I tried to explain it to Robotnet earlier. There's something as if like I know that she's not AI, but it's as if they used AI to try to make the voice more clear, making it sound almost robotic. And I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, it sounds awful. It really does. And it does sound like they probably had to enhance her voice somewhat. I don't know if it's because of her, speech impediment or, whatever it is, but it does sound like it's processed, like they had to do something to make it more audible. That they didn't succeed in that.
Here's my thought. Do you want to hear my theory? You want to hear my theory? Okay. This is like the biggest Pandora box we're going to go through tonight at this moment. And I don't think anybody else has addressed it. You know how there was a movie where they took Adrian Brody and they gave him a different accent? Meaning today you have a situation, he talked, he acted, and then later in post they use like, certain tools so that when he talks in that accent, it sounds more believable, yet it's his voice. And, what they did was, I think, is that they had somebody that actually knew how to speak it, and the machine learned like the right words and applied it somehow to Adrian Brody's voice in those places that he has to say those words. Certain words were fixed so you believe he has the accent, okay?
Yep.
Now, I think that this is the reverse situation. They just took somebody that maybe went over it or used some kind of tool to make her English sound more clear because of the way she kind of like swallows her words and garbles around. I feel like they used something where somebody like you and I, or some tool, they went and they tried to bring out like the real words. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. They did something to kind of process it, auto tune it, whatever you have to do to get it to work. Yeah, it was. It does. There's something off.
There's something off,
right.
and I tend to think that she, like, the bottom line is she wasn't. You couldn't understand what she was saying, and they used some kind of manipulation to fix it. I can't think of any other reason. I can't think of any other reason why it would sound so weird. Because anything else, if it's just volume, if it's just compression, there's so many things you could do. You don't need to like completely change your voice. Something about this seems like there's a bigger issue here that nobody wants to tell us the truth about. But I have a feeling that some fishy thing was done here. But yeah, sorry, go on. She's sitting here talking about
fine.
gas.
Yeah, she's thinking she's so impressed by all the gases outside.
I will say that people here, or a few people said that at least she didn't like walk around barefoot or sit around like like she's on a couch.
Yeah, we didn't see any of that this episode.
No, in this episode they somehow didn't do it. I don't know if they looked at what those 3 earlier episodes looked like, and somebody said, "Can she stop walking around and rolling around on couches barefoot and looking like a weirdo?" I don't know if now in the next episode she's going to be barefoot and rolling around again. Time will tell what's going to happen. But in this episode, it feels like, there was a conscious decision to make her act at least more official than she has until now. I still think she's awful in this role. It's sad because I didn't have anything against Holly Hunter. And like I said, she was good in Raising Arizona. She had some interesting movies back in the day. I don't want to just hate on people, but unfortunately, this reminds me of like a Laura Dern situation. Laura Dern has done nothing wrong as an actress, but once she was Holdo, I will always look at her and remember that she's Holdo. And it's unfortunate. I really feel bad for her. Yep. She'll always be Holdo to me.
She'll always be Holdo.
And Holly Hunter will always be this stupid thing. I'll never forget that she's this stupid thing now. Ever.
Yeah. The ratty hair and everything to go with it is just, I can't believe it.
I do have some sound experience, and I think Professor knows a bit about sound himself. He's usually pretty knowledgeable at stuff like that. Yeah, I do know some stuff. I don't know if he was talking to me or not, but yeah, I do. I've done stuff before where like let's say produced my own music and things like that. I've also, I'll give you an example. There's ways today that if you, let's say, there's applications and things like that if, let's say, you record a speech and one of the words is kind of like, doesn't sound good, or you fumbled it, you kind of garbled it, there's a way that you could go and just ask that one word be corrected. Now, generally speaking, I'm not like, I don't want people to listen to me and that like my voice will be AI. I will tell you that there have been a few instances where a word like slipped, and I used an app to fix one word, because otherwise I would have to go and start like recording the whole thing again. If it's like a syllable, I can be okay with it. Again, it's not something that I do every second. I'll say like, out of, I don't know, hundreds of videos, it probably happened to me like 3 times or something that I use something to like fix like one word which was garbling. Okay. And even then, what what the application or whatever does is it's listening to what I was saying and it's trying to fix it. Okay. It's listening to my voice. It's listening to the word and it's trying to fix it. Now, my instinct tells me that with Holly Hunter, they use that everywhere Do you get what I'm trying to say? And
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why if it's a situation you have somebody gives like a 10-minute speech and one syllable was somebody corrected it that way, you're probably not going to notice it. Okay, it's just going to be a syllable. You're not going to be able to find where that thing happened. It's not a big deal. With Holly Hunter, though, if you do the whole thing like that, it starts sounding like robotic AI weird crap, and that's what I think happened. Oh, what happened to the Star Trek?
Sorry, no, I bumped the button there to stop sharing.
Okay.
Accidentally.
Go on. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. Yeah, so yeah, our next scene we get we're back with the doctor here. And he is apparently again one of only like 4 teachers the entire academy. So he's teaching medical stuff. He teaches the herbology class or whatever. He also teaches apparently debate. He's going to lead the debate team. And they're bringing back debate here in Starfleet Academy for the first time in 100 and whatever years. Great. He starts out with a quote taken directly from the Star Trek The Next Generation episode Drumhead. It's the quote that is used by Picard at the end of the episode when he is challenging the admiral who has been bringing these inquiries and has kind of gone completely off the reservations. He's gone paranoid, looking for all sorts of stuff. So he brings out this quote that was actually a quote brought by or from her father, who's this well-known, respected jurist, Judge Aaron Satie. So they bring this quote letter for letter, word for word, straight out of that episode. They don't bother to make up a new quote. They don't bother to just use part of it or something like that. No, they quote it word for word straight out of the episode. So right off the bat, just member berries like crazy. And then, of course, we get the doctor swearing for no reason at all.
It's so awkward. It comes off as like unnatural, cringe, and weird.
Yeah, and let's see. I don't know if I can get it, but yeah, one of the students says, "Are you allowed to talk like that?" And he's like, "If you've lived as long as I have, I can talk however I want." And it's like, yeah, but I mean, you can talk like that, but should you be talking like that to
There's
students?
a few problems. There's a few problems with it. First of all, he's like, I've earned the right to say whatever. It's like, no, what are you talking about? You've earned the right to curse children? Or not children, the cadets. I don't think that that's correct. The other thing is that we're supposed to believe that this is 1,000 years in the future and he's calling somebody like his student chicken shit. It just doesn't make any sense. It's like the disrespect here towards what this franchise is supposed to be, even in little details like this, is just... The fact that like Mary Sue then later writes articles seemingly in good faith when this is happening on the show, that's the real disgrace. But sorry, go on.
No, it's just like, so yeah, oh great. So now you want to sound like you're less educated in front of your students? Okay, sure. Whatever. I don't know any professors that swear like that in front of students.
And you're the professor, and you don't know.
Not normally. Not normally. Not going to say it doesn't happen occasionally. I mean, you had stuff. There's stuff that's blown up in your face. Trying to do a test and the network goes down, or power goes out, or the fire alarm goes off, and you drop an S-bomb or something like that in class, but. It's not something you just stand around just in the middle of a conversation. You're like, F this, F that, chicken shit this, whatever. Like, no, like that's just not what you do. There's a sense of decorum you're supposed to have in the classroom that, I'm here to educate you. I'm here to share this stuff with you. We're not here to swear like sailors. It's just.
I do think when I think about it, I think that I had a professor that sometimes would like say shit or something like that, but it wasn't. Chicken shit is different, and in any case, like it was maybe he's talking about like passionate or something. I can't remember the context, but I think that at the time that like a professor that I had said it didn't look like this. Meaning he'd be like, oh, a lot of people have this theory, but I'm going to tell you something, students, it's bullshit. but like it makes sense within the context of what he's saying, that he's trying to disprove a theory, or he has like very passionate explanation about something. But this is like, this is like, oh, it's chicken shit.
He calls the students
right,
a name.
Exactly.
He calls the students a name. It's not like he's just swearing because he's angry about something or
exactly
whatever. No, he actually calls the students a nasty name, which is, that's not. Badfoot said in the chat, professionalism equals 0. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they apparently turned off that bit of code in his matrix so that he's no longer going to act like a professional. So yeah, what is it there? What is it there for, Price? It's there for a quick, ridiculous laugh from the audience. That's all it's there.
By the way, if you're watching this stream and you're enjoying it and you haven't yet subscribed, you should do that right now and like the stream and subscribe. And if you're watching on Rumble, then you should definitely open an account there if it's not already open, if you're watching through the app, and then follow us so you'll always be updated when we do our streams.
Whoop, whoop.
Sorry, go on, Professor.
No, absolutely. So yeah, they're going to start the debate team, and they have this ridiculously stupid conversation with the doctor who's swearing. Oh, this is so cool. Oh, look, the doctor said chicken shit. Sorry, Sean. So then we get conversations with some of the characters. He tells one of the students that he could debate them. Or he could right now he could use the power of words to tell him that he doesn't exist or something. There's some weird thing that he said, but they're asking him why he was allowed to teach this class. And so the more member berries, he talks about, I was on Voyager and I had to debate myself into existence. I had to use words to prove to them that I was valuable, which I will be honest. Okay, sure. You could twist it a little bit that way to say that's what happened in Voyager. He did have to advocate for himself and say, no, I am, I'm something more than just a program. I'm growing, I'm learning. I deserve to have rights. That is true. There were bits of that in Voyager. So I don't really have a problem with that, other than it's just more member berries. Moving on from that, we first get to have some discussions here. They start this sort of winner continues on kind of, like quick debate thing where we find out that our buddy here, what's his name? Caleb?
Yeah, Caleb, yes.
Yeah. Gary Stu, the guy who's good at everything and always has every skill he needs right when he needs it. Good old Ray Palpatine here. He's the best debater. He knows all the things. He knows every Starfleet regulation and every law book and every decision that's been made in every case ever. Like, he knows all of this stuff. Like, he's memorized all of this, which is just blatantly absurd. That somebody of his age would know all of these things. And you know what? Some of the most talented, incredibly gifted lawyers that are out there today, they don't know all this stuff off the top of their heads. When they go into a case that's something that they're going to have to step up and debate, they have to study. They have to look up precedent. They have to look at all of the different things that are related. Yeah, they might be they can assimilate all of that and learn all of that for that case, but they're not suddenly going to retain that for the rest of their lives and be able to argue any case anywhere ever forever because they studied, stuff 10 years ago. It's so silly. It's so ridiculous, Bryce.
It is really stupid.
And of course, then things move forward, and we get him debating our Klingon buddy here, Jaden, who is having a panic attack. Oh, what a great, strong Klingon. And this is where in my notes, Bryce, I made my first note, just irritated as hell about his voice.
Awful. It's a Holly Hunter situation, but different. Okay, we talked about this, and we've talked about it in a few different forums. Michael Dorn, all you have to do is cast a guy, looks the role, acts the role, has gravitas, looks like he'd be a warrior, sounds like the right guy for the job, has the deep voice. That's it. Done. and he's a good actor. Everything. You had everything in that guy. This guy is none of those things. He doesn't have the demeanor. He doesn't have the attitude. He doesn't have the vibe. He has one if you want the sensitive, more sensitive pushover Klingon. And this is me putting in mildly here, then maybe that's what you go for. But why do you even have a sensitive Klingon? You know what I mean? What kind of weird, oh, I'm being edgy. You know how all the Klingons are like strong and powerful and aggressive and whatever? This guy is like some little wuss. You know what I mean? Like, why do we need this? I cannot stand this thing. It's not a Klingon. This is a phony Klingon. And not only that, even the way they make it is like face look, the makeup or whatever you want to call it, even that kind of looks candy ass.
Oh yeah, he's intentionally given very, dare I say, feminine kind of features
like
as a character.
Klingon. The candy ass Klingon. That's what I should have called him. I don't know.
Yeah.
In my videos, I called him the sensitive Klingon. He should have been a candy ass Klingon. Sorry,
well,
go on,
Professor. He's some kind of ass Klingon. I'm not sure if it's candy or not.
In any case, I apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go on.
You're not
go on.
interrupting, Price. This is we're conversation here, man.
You reminded me of how much I was annoyed watching this guy.
Yeah.
And now, like, I was triggered. But now I'm gonna go on.
No, they manipulate his voice so that it sounds so much deeper. I'm a Klingon, right? When you can tell it's manipulated, it sounds terrible. And on top of that, the way they have it, I don't know if this was his choice or if this is what he was told to do. But throughout this episode and anything that we've seen him in so far, he delivers his lines like every word is followed with a period. And it is infuriating.
You know what it is?
Oh my God.
You know what it is? It's as if somebody told him, hey, can you look at like the real, like a real Klingon? Can you look at Worf and see what he does and try to pretend that you're Worf? This looks like a poor imitation of a guy who doesn't have anything that Michael Dorn has as an actor on any level, trying to pull off sort of a Michael Dorn, but I just don't believe him. And he's not a good actor. And you're right, his delivery is poor. Everything is poor. I didn't like this character until now, but I guess the reason why I didn't talk about it as much is because we didn't see him as much. The fact that they gave him an episode that they shed so much light on him only exposed how big of a problem this is. But sorry, go on.
Yeah. No, it's fine. So yes, he has this little panic attack. He's freaking out, and he tells some of the other students like he has trouble standing up for what he believes in. Like he can't. What? He can't. When I try to stand up for things I believe in, I sweat or whatever. It's like, oh my God.
So
what
stupid, yeah.
Freaking loser. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we move on from that. We get their little heart to heart that they have here, where he asks him about memorizing all these laws and regulations. He says, well, while I didn't have much to do in prison, so I just read all this stuff. So apparently he has an eidetic memory, or he's able to remember absolutely everything he's ever read. And they talk about here. He tries to give him this warrior stew, which, by the way, never existed in Klingon culture before. There was never warrior stew that you were only allowed to eat if you were only allowed to eat it if you were really a true warrior. You know why there wasn't something you were only allowed to eat if you were a true warrior?
Well, why is that?
Because if you weren't a true warrior, you were dead.
Ah, that's true. You weren't a Klingon if you weren't a true warrior.
You weren't a Klingon. You were either completely, they turned you away and you were exiled from your house and from Klingon. You were looked on as worse than filth. Or someone in your house just killed you so that they could maintain the honor of their house. That's what happened, right? There was no, oh, well, you only get to eat the stew of your warrior. Also, Klingons, as has been shown in multiple different situations, prefer to eat live food or food that was raw in many cases. They actually, there's in episodes of TNG and other episodes where they complain about the fact that, oh, yes, humans like to cook their food, right? So stew, well, that's cooked food, right? That doesn't it doesn't fit with a lot of what they had talked about.
Nothing here makes sense. This is just so stupid. And
there's the warrior stew. Yeah, it's like looks like entrails or something.
Also, Caleb, until 5 minutes ago, he was every second. Everybody bothered to tell us that he's Mr. Lone Wolf. He's Mr. Lone Wolf. Now he's Mr. Buddy Buddy. You know what I mean? Now, like, he wants to hang out with everybody. His pals. He wants to help his pals. 5 minutes ago, all he wanted to do was get away from them. Now, I'm not saying that a character can't have an arc that he would change. It's just that the character arc for this guy is so all over the place and weird, and it doesn't progress in a way that feels natural. And I think we talked about this with Robot today, that it doesn't feel natural that a guy that started off seemingly a guy in prison ends up here like seven minutes later. We're 3 episodes in. He went from like some, guy that keeps getting arrested for doing crazy stuff, some guy who's been in prison and all this stuff, and at the end he's like Mr. Rogers suddenly. Do you get what I'm saying?
It makes no sense.
Makes no sense. He's Mr. Rogers and also the best at computers, the best at debating, the best here, the best at sports.
And just a total badass all around, right?
He's a total badass. And
yeah.
people think, when we said stuff about Ray, they're like, well, you wouldn't say that if it was a man. And it's like, no, I do say that. I think that whether it's a man or a woman, you want to see somebody earn something. You want to see somebody go through any kind of process. I'll give you an example, and I can't believe this is going to be the only time, Professor, that I'm going to say something positive about this character. Are you ready? Wesley Crusher. When you start off with the Next Generation, he's more childish, he's more trying to learn, but over time they try to at least build him up to be a more serious character and try to make it seem like he's learning something and growing. Now, it's not my favorite character, and it's not my favorite actor, and it's not my favorite part of the Next Generation, but at least they did the minimum amount of work to show that there was some kind of character development, and it certainly didn't happen overnight. Do you get what I mean?
Absolutely.
Not to mention, there's other ones. I think that they did that with Worf. Worf was a Klingon amongst that crew there. I think that they worked with him. Data over time learns more and more about being human. They knew how to work with arcs. They didn't just make it that everybody learned everything in one day and that's it. The people writing this are not intellectual enough. They're not good writers. They're not sophisticated enough. They're not able to pull it off. They don't understand the very fundamental basics of writing and creating a show. This is like, and I think I've had an epiphany. This is like people that at best, I don't even know, at best could have made like a show that's like a discount Gossip Girl. That's what they could have done. Now, it's fine if you're the CW and you want a show with a bunch of that's not even as good as Gossip Girl, which I think is a shitty show. Sorry, Sean. So if you want that, that's what these guys making this show are capable of doing, maybe. This is Star Trek. Star Trek is like a field that you need to be, very smart in. And the final thing I'll tell you, somebody asked me today if I, felt like getting something. I don't really want to get involved in it. It was something about me potentially writing almost like a fan fiction of like Doctor Who. And I told them, listen, that's a lot of responsibility. I don't know if I could actually do a good job. I don't want to do something that comes off as lame and stupid. I don't know if I'm a good fit for writing a good Doctor Who episode. And I mean it. I'm telling you that sincerely. And as much as I'm not a good fit, trust me that these idiots making this show are 100 times less of a fit. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I understand the responsibility of what it means, and these guys don't care about it. They don't care about what they're doing. They don't care about this franchise. Sorry, but go on. I'm sorry.
Oh no. I want to hear everything you got to say, Bryce. Please.
No, I'm actually interested in your input because I watched it and I had my notes and I'm so curious. I'm like a viewer. I'm so curious to hear what you think. But each time see this,
you brought this up, so I will chime in on this. Okay, so you're talking about these characters and you're talking about them how they don't grow, right? So this has been pointed out a few times in different ways that different writers approach characters, and in the more feminine model of what you might call a hero's journey. Well, let's start on the other side. The more traditional, the masculine, more traditional version of the hero's journey. Remember, there's a whole bunch of steps to this, right? There's where they feel the call to adventure. They have to experience, they refuse the call, but then there's something that drives them forward. There's a supernatural aid, or they're drawn away without actually, intending to be. They cross a threshold where now they're pressed into this adventure, and so they have to go through trials, and they have to go through temptation, and then they have to have an ordeal that they go through where they eventually sort of grow beyond who they were as a young man, and grew beyond who they were as the character that they started with, and became something greater. And then they come back, and they return to to where they came from, to their place of origin. They fight the threat, that part, that had been driven away. This is all part of the hero's journey, and it's part of this more masculine model of how you have a character that goes from being sort of a shallow youth who doesn't really have experience, doesn't really know anything about the world, and they learn and they grow and they change before they can come back and they can prove to others that they are now something greater than they were when they left, right? That this is model that we have. The feminine model is completely different, and it is what essentially all of these feminists that we have now who are writing all of this fiction, this is the only thing that they know. It's the only way they can understand a character, is through this feminine idea that these characters were always perfect. They always had all the tools they needed to survive, to win, to overcome whatever obstacles they face. There is no growth. There is no change. The only thing that is necessary for them to move forward is to recognize that they were always capable of what they wanted to do. They were always capable of overcoming the obstacles if only they allowed themselves and understood themselves well enough to be able to recognize their superiority, recognize their ability to overcome those things. It's a completely different paradigm, right?
Right.
And that it's all of these people who are writing this fiction now, the people who are writing what is in these stories, it is all coming from that feminist direction. All of these characters, they've always been perfect. They've always known everything they always needed. They only have to recognize that they're perfect, and that everything that they have, they already have everything that they need to be successful and to overcome these obstacles.
We're going to continue in a second. I just want to go over these two super chats from Jason Webster for $5. He says Kurtzman Trek makes Starfleet look a lot like Mr. Magoo's blindly stumbling through space. Nothing aspirational about it. The second thing that he did was for $2 is the Klingon with emphysema. I agree with everything you wrote. It's all fair enough. Okay, we're back.
Gavin wanted to let me know I got a notification up here. Yeah, I follow way too many channels. All right. So anyway, so they have this ridiculous conversation where he argues with him about how he won't eat pizza with pepperoni on it because the pepperoni didn't die a death where it had to fight for its life or something.
Here's another issue that I have. He can't be, and I don't know how else to say it. This is going to sound very bad, and I'm sorry. He can't be a pussy Klingon, but also one that's like, oh, he didn't die a good death, whatever. It's like, dude, either you're like a warrior and you're acting like Worf because you're like badass, or you're just like, you're soft and moist and like, and a jerk off and very kind of, subdued and you're not a warrior. You can't be both. They want
Yeah.
to enjoy, the humor that comes from a Worf type of character, but at the same time, he hasn't earned it. He acts like a jerk off all the time. So how he's gonna make those kind of quips? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and they wanted to try in some way to use basically his being a Klingon as some sort of justification for him being apparently a vegan, because he won't eat anything that didn't die in a fair fight. I got news for you. Wheat didn't die in a fair fight. Nothing that you can eat died in a fair fight.
Exactly.
First of all, even more than any of that stuff, nothing you're eating came from an animal. Nothing you're eating came from a plant. It's literally atoms that have been formed into molecules and spit out of a replicator.
Somebody's saying if you can get to the gay scene, we'll get there soon. Don't worry.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna move forward through this a little bit more quickly. So we do find out, that during the burn, it seems that the Klingon home planet, Kronos, as it's known in every other version of Star Trek, or Kronos, as they pronounce it in this abomination, is basically gone. It was blown up during the burn because they had a whole bunch of dilithium reactors all over the planet that went kablooey and destroyed the planet, and it sent everyone fleeing. So there was a Klingon diaspora. They all had to escape, and we find out that his family was on some starship that was going somewhere. We don't actually know where the hell they were going, but they were going somewhere, and it's been damaged and lost. They can't find it or whatever. So maybe his family has gone missing. So on top of everything that we've got so far, us knowing about his his parents. Oh, we didn't mention in the last scene, they slip in just a little bit during that conversation between Jaden and Caleb. He says something about my father's and mother. So we get just real quick that they had to slip in there that his parents are in a matriarchal throuple. Fantastic. Gotta squeeze that queerness in there anywhere we can, right?
And I never heard this on any Klingon. I never heard of such a thing before. They just invented this thing. Why would they even invent this? Is it just to, again, all I can see is that they want to make they consider the Klingon like strong, aggressive warrior males, and they want to ruin that in any way possible. The Klingon here, he seems very moist and soft. He seems to possibly like dudes. And again, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just saying that they took like people, a group of people that were known for one thing, and they're just trying to shove all of their stupid shit, sorry, Sean, into the same thing that they keep doing. So they did that. They made them like, bums. They ruined their thing. They're like, they walk around with leather jackets. They're stupid.
Yeah.
They did so many.
And they're refugees, Bryce. They're all refugees. So he grew up in a refugee parents, or the child of a refugee throuple who was apparently living on a planet in tents, but had a starship they could live in. Doesn't really make sense at all. It's complete nonsense, but whatever. So they find out all about this. There's a Klingon refugee crisis. I will tell you, I made a note here in my notes. My God, they have to stop with the constant ECUs on these characters. None of them are attractive enough that I want to see that as constantly as they did it, at least in this episode.
ECU?
Extreme close-ups.
Okay. Sorry.
They're zooming in on characters' faces for these extreme close-ups all the time, and it was just irritating. So we get to learn a little bit more about who Jaden was. We get to go see his family. We get to go see actually first his brother, who says he's supposed to be teaching him to hunt today, but he's not going to teach his brother to hunt because he knows his brother's heart, that his brother is not a warrior, and he is not going to force him to become something that he is not. And so instead of teaching him to be a hunter so that he could be accepted into his clan and probably not slaughtered by his father or outcast by his mother, no, he just lets him go look at birds. Yep. That's what we're going to do. So not helping his brother out at all. But that's not the mindset of the writers. They think, oh, this is the bravest thing you can do, is to just recognize someone for who they are. Yeah. So,
and this is the whole thing. Part of what Star Trek makes it interesting is that I remember episodes that Picard needed to deal with the Klingons and really trying to get into their mind of how exactly he would deal with them. And that's what made it interesting. And nobody expected the Klingons not to be the Klingons. It was the interaction with Picard and them. And also there was that thing with Worf and how, his house was shamed and, and all that stuff to uncover what happened there. There was a lot of interesting stories and storylines there. But always one thing that I'll say when I saw especially Next Generation, when there was something involving the Klingons, you knew that these guys were going to be difficult. They're tough, they're difficult to deal with, they're aggressive, and you knew that whatever's going to happen here is going to be like whoever's dealing with them is going to deal with some serious headache trying to get through to them and things like that. This is all out the window here. They're Klingons in name only. They're two guys with one woman. What is that? They're wearing leather jackets. They're not one of them did a warrior thing. They're all just
no.
They're all nothing here. They've been reduced to nothing. They're refugees. They lost their planet. They're stupid. Everything is so dumb.
He presents him with a bow and arrow that's supposed to be this warrior's weapon, whatever. Warrior's weapon was always a bat'leth, by the way, the sword of honor. That was the weapon. It happens again at the end of the episode. We're going to present you with this great weapon of a warrior. It's no, you would give him a bat'leth, not this dumb looking bow thing, but whatever. They go back and they meet the family. They're living in tents, burning fires outside, when apparently they have a starship they could be living in, which would obviously be much safer from wildlife and from the weather and all of that stuff. But they're living in a tent. The mother has a Jamaican accent. Never had a Klingon with a Jamaican accent before, but she's darker skinned, so I guess they figure they gotta fit some other cultural stuff in there. He gives him a bow, and then he tells the other Klingon that tells Jaden, "Oh, you'll earn your bow someday when you become a warrior." So yeah, we get to deal with more of that, and then she the mother makes the warrior stew and says, yes, so I've made everything for the entrail stew, and one day you'll get to taste it too when you become a warrior. And once you honor the hunt, not that he needs to become a warrior, he just has to go out and kill something, which a hunt and becoming a warrior are two completely different things, right? That's not so they completely missed that whole thing about what a Klingon is supposed to be. It's not just, oh, you know what? I went on and shot my first deer and now I'm a man, right? It's so silly. That's not what it was to be a warrior. His brother goes to the nearby town, whatever, traders, and he finds this doodad that he brings back, which apparently traders all over on random planets have these little globes that are invitations to join Starfleet. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it's a stupid globe thing. Yeah.
What?
I didn't get that
why
either.
Would some random trader have that? Right. It doesn't even make sense. Okay. Anyway, he's got that. So he tells him, Starfleet could help you, become, something else. You could join them, and they would appreciate who you are and all of this stuff. And it's ridiculous. So we move on from that. We go into the class that they have here, where he's talking about exactly what they're going to do for these debates, and they need to pick a subject for the debates, and they go back and forth on different subjects, and then someone mentions the Klingon diaspora, and the doctor says that's not something, we're not going to talk about that. That's not acceptable. Then Jaden tries to, why isn't it acceptable? If they're all going to talk about it anyway, we might as well talk about it here. Something. It's like, okay, sure. So they make that the subject of the debates that they're going to have later. And he says, to ignore this, to ignore reality does not make it disappear. Something, which. That's some interesting writing from the people that we know are behind writing the show.
True.
Ignoring reality doesn't make it disappear. Yeah. Seems that could apply to a lot of other things in life, even in today's time. So we learn a little bit more about why the planet was uninhabitable, why all the Klingons spread out in this diaspora. And then we learn in the very next scene after this that Admiral enjoys apples made of poo. He comes in and he says,
Starfleet he's a hologram here. He's not even real.
He's just a hologram, but he comes in and they.
But in the past, he wasn't a hologram. Only now he's a hologram, right?
Yeah, this time he's a hologram. I don't know.
Like, nobody even explained it. He's just suddenly a hologram, and like there's no explanation. I couldn't understand. The only thing I was trying to think, are they suggesting that when the ship is in the air, he stays on the ground in San Francisco? Is that what they're trying to do? Because otherwise, I don't understand what they're going for here.
Or he's off somewhere else on a space station somewhere. I have no idea.
So, but my question is, until now, was it really him, or was it? Like, was he a hologram until now, or was he real? I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's also, I just want to quickly say, that's also my issue with all these holograms. Like, I understand, and I'm going to be honest with you, and some people may not like it. That's also the reason why I didn't love the concept of that doctor, even on Voyager. I understand that people liked him, and the actor was good in the role, and I've only watched one season of Discovery of Voyager. All of that is true, but I will say that I don't love the whole idea of holograms. I don't love them, and this annoys me, but go on.
No, I was just looking at JDiz for you, and the chat says this is extra watered down DS9 Klingon type stuff. Disco ruined so much. Yes, it absolutely did, but I'll tell you, at least it's not the Klingorks from the first season of Disco. The pink, weird looking Klingons with the teeth that makes every sentence they said was all came out absurd. It's terrible. So anyway, they found a planet that they could offer to the Klingon. It's amazing. All of this stuff is all happening at the same time, Price. They've got a Klingon in Starfleet.
It's the most convenient thing ever.
His parents are lost, and now after 1,000 years.
Not only that, with a debate, exactly when he needed to debate about Klingons, that's when bad things happen to Klingons.
That's when bad things happen to Klingons. And then at the same time, after 1,000 years of inhabiting this same area of space, they suddenly have found an uninhabited planet, and that uninhabited planet happens to be a near perfect match for the environment on the original Klingon homeworld.
Yep.
After all this time, they've just magically found this. Nobody's living on it after 1,000 years. And it's just a perfect match for the Klingons. Just what a coincidence, man! It's impressive. But they say we're gonna have to talk to the Klingons about it. But he tells Captain Ake or whatever her name is here, Chancellor Ake. Well, you're gonna need to talk to your old friend. And she says, "How do you know anything about that?" And he says, "Well, I've been reading the personnel files for the last 7 years." What? Like, okay, sure, whatever. It seems kind of weird.
Why? I didn't get that. Why is he reading the personnel files?
Yeah. He says they're more interesting than a novel or something like that. essentially implying that there's lots of steamy things to read in people's personnel files.
They can't even make one character here not seem like a complete freak and weirdo. Just like, there's not one guy. This guy's supposed to be an admiral. He doesn't act like any kind of admiral. This is like, if you ask like a 5-year-old to like write a screenplay of what he thinks based on his understanding of life, that's what this screenplay looks like. No actual person with any kind of maturity, with any kind of like, understanding of anything wrote this screenplay. But sorry, go on.
Yeah, it's they're talking back and forth about what it is they're going to debate, how they're going to debate it. There can't be anything that happens here between them. There's a scene. Is it this scene right here? Oh yeah, there we go. Oh my god. Oh, I wanted to turn every I wanted to turn
This is the
this
one that
off.
they're like, "Oh, we'll help you debate." He's like, "I don't need your help."
Yes, and he said yes. He's a really good debater. He's a master debater. Literally middle school humor here. That in this episode, just oh my god, so terrible. So yeah, they're arguing with him about who's he going to debate against, what's he going to debate, is he taking the negative, the positive position, whatever. He goes back, he sits in his room and stares out at the nebula and starts thinking back to his mother. He remembers a time when whoa, that's a freeze frame right there. He remembers
look at his thing. He doesn't look like a Klingon. This looks like a bullshit. This looks like Party City Klingon. This doesn't look like a Klingon.
So he remembers back to when his brother was killed. He got in a tussle with somebody at the trading post and was stabbed by a poison blade. And then he was going to buy a dermal regenerator. It was Federation technology, and he says, if I got to go get the regenerator, it could save his life. And his father says, no, Starfleet technology is not for us. It's whatever. Since when?
Yeah, I don't remember that either.
Starfleet technology a problem? It's ridiculous, right? No, we just don't. We're not going to use anything that could save my son's life because it's something that doesn't belong to. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense at all. But yeah, we see his brother died. His brother's last wish was for him to honor his true self or whatever. It's ridiculous. When really a true Klingon, his last wish would be for his brother to become a warrior and be part of their clan, part of their house, and bring honor to to their family. That would be a real Klingon's actual last wish for his brother. Like, take up my sword, become a warrior, earn, the honor that I can't earn here in life because, no, that's not what we get. Right. More of him, thinking about what was going on. We get, then, Ake here meets up with, this, what it was apparently an old flame of hers. It's implied that, at one time, they were intimate, shall we say, Price?
Which is also weird, this whole thing.
Yeah.
Now, is this supposed to be an albino Klingon? What's he supposed
I think if you look at it, look at the color of his skin, look at the color of his hair. I think what they're trying to do here is that this is an albino Klingon, which would be a callback to Deep Space Nine. You'll remember from that episode where they brought back the original Klingon captains from TOS, and Dax went with them to go fight. There was an albino Klingon who was the bad guy that they were after. I think they're going for the same thing here. He's got all white hair. His skin is much lighter tone than a typical Klingon. So he's like some kind of albino Klingon as a member berry here. But then his outfit doesn't look Klingon at all, right? It just looks like any other trader that you might see wandering around space. But I'll be honest. I'll give it to them if they really have been for 200 years or something, or 100+ years been wandering around in space. As with wandering around in space with their culture kind of scattered and everything. It's entirely possible that they don't have their Klingon.
Sears?
They don't have their regular Klingon uniforms anymore, right? They don't have a distinctive Klingon style.
But he went to Macy's to buy a.
He went. Yeah, he stopped in at JCPenney, and he picked up a blazer. And
the Sears still exists. The Sears still exists.
I think there are some Sears around.
He had the Sears catalog, and he ordered that. Those are clothes from the Sears catalog, in my opinion.
She tells him, hey, look, there's this planet we've got for you, and it's perfect. All the Klingons could resettle here. And of course, no, that's not okay. We couldn't build a home there. We don't want your charity. We would only go there. We would only be there with our traditions if, we could conquer it. Right. We would have to take it from you.
And
at which point
is kind of a pussy too, between you and me. This also doesn't feel like badass Klingon to me. This is like pushover. Another one of those. They couldn't show us one Klingon. Do you remember what the Klingons were? None of them act like a Klingon. But go on.
No, just so then this is literally where, and I sent you this last night, Bryce. I wrote down the ending. I said, this is how they're gonna finish the episode. I know it right here. This is how long. This is 25 minutes into this episode, 50 some minutes later. I was like, it's the writing is on the wall. I know how they're gonna solve this episode. They're gonna do something. They're gonna forbid the Klingons to have this planet. They're going to pull some reverse psychology BS out of a terrible plot from a sitcom to say, nope, you can't have it. And so they'll say, no, you say we can't have it. Well, we're going to take it from you. And then they come in and they get their planet, right? It's like it's absurd. It's so terrible. This has to be what they're going to write. And of course, that was, as we'll see, that's
all they can write. The people writing this show just are not on a level of doing anything.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. I've never seen a situation. Well, I have with Star Wars too, unfortunately, and with Doctor Who. But each time it stuns me that they brought people that are not able to do the minimum. The minimum. You're right. This feels like I'm trying to think. It's like it's like a plot out of Perfect Strangers or something. You know what I mean? It's not.
It is. It absolutely is.
It doesn't feel like something that you'd see on a show like this. But sorry, go on.
Bulky doesn't want to live in the other bedroom, so I'm going to flip the script on him by saying he can't have the other bedroom, so that he does want the other bedroom, and so I trick him into taking.
I want to go to the bedroom, and then exactly.
So that now he takes the other bedroom, which is what I wanted him to do all along, but I had to make him think that he had to win it from me or take it from me. It's a ridiculous sitcom plot. It's terrible.
It could have also been like a plot on Friends, where like Ross and Joey,
exactly.
Joey and Chandler. They do the even better with the roommates. Better than Perfect Stranger. The roommates of Chandler and Joey fooling each other into taking the other room or whatever. That's what this seems like.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. So they get back to this debate stuff. He's trying to practice and you're sweating it out. You think you're going to be able to do this instead of reading off cards. Why don't you just memorize everything? What do you think he's doing with the cards? Right? He's trying to memorize. So dumb.
I can't believe they just made him good at like debating. How is he just like he's?
Oh, because he's the best. He's the best at everything.
He's the best at everything. But it's just
Gary
it's
Stu.
So stupid. He's the ultimate Gary Stu. He is. Anyhow,
look at this. I was laughing about this earlier. Here's this. The guy's filling up like 3/4 of the frame, and she's just like this little nothing down in the corner. It's hilarious.
He's like 7 times her size. Yeah, the actor is so weird.
Enormous compared to her. But yeah, so they finish up their little conversations about, oh, this is what we need to do, and you're not. We would only take your planet if we, if we conquered it and whatever. We see that apparently Jaden is still holding on to the bits and pieces of the broken transmitter that he originally got from his brother. His father takes him out to try to get him to finally hunt, and he refuses. So here's where I in my notes I said, if his father was truly a Klingon, he would have just killed him there. He just because he's weak.
He's weak.
He brings weakness and dishonor to their house. He is not going to help them win their battles. He is going to be a liability when it comes to fighting against the other houses. He gets one of two things. He's either just disowned or he's dead. And most of the time he's dead. Right? So he's they go out here and he's saying, oh, you take this bow that I made for your brother, kill your first prey. Once again, mixing up this whole like masculine, like, oh, you're gonna become a man by killing your first animal and becoming a warrior, just sort of like conflating these two when they're not anywhere near the same thing. It's absurd. But they he goes out, he refuses to kill the bird, refuses to kill it. So the dad pulls the bow, takes the bow and gets ready to shoot the bird, and he misses. And then he stomps off, leaves him behind after he's kicked this transmitter thing off the side of the hill. So he goes after the little Starfleet transmitter thing, which, by the way, look at this guy. He is a freaking twig.
Yeah.
There is nothing to him. There is no mass, nothing. He is a complete wuss.
Soft. He's soft.
He's soft as hell. He goes to find the bits and pieces of this. And while he's doing that, trying to, fretting over this thing that's been broken, he sees flying overhead his family's starship, which they should have been living in instead of living in a tent. But they see it fly overhead and they leave
I
him
don't
behind.
understand that. I didn't understand that. Why are they living in a tent if they have a starship? I didn't get that. I still don't understand.
Because they're refugees.
But isn't it better to hang out on your ship?
Yes. Absolutely. It's.
And it looks like a pretty nice ship. Like, it's flying around. It's like, okay, well, what are you doing here? Like, in the middle of this garbage?
There's clearly nothing wrong with the ship, Price. There's clearly nothing wrong with it. And even if the ship were grounded, like it couldn't fly or whatever, they could live in it.
Right. Still better than the tent.
It would be more secure. It would be more environmentally stable. I mean, you wouldn't get rained on. You wouldn't have the cold and the wind. You wouldn't have to deal with, predators that might be out there in the wilderness. Like you would have a secure place to live inside the starship. But no, they live in a tent that's clearly made from like bones and animal hides and stuff, instead of just living in the starship that they clearly could have just lived in. It's so dumb. So we get back. They get ready for it. By the way, this is basically my script for this whole episode. Just me sighing every time I had to see this guy. So then he's back. He's in his room practicing, and
this is the gay scene, right?
Dickhead shows up.
As I like to call them, a random
bully.
Douche. Yes.
Yeah, random douche shows up, and he is first he stomps into the room, and then he tells Jaden to punch him. He wants him to punch him. He's like, I will not punch you. Whatever. Hit me. You can pretend you're punching Caleb in the face. Even Caleb wants you to punch him in the face. So I am not hitting you. So he's trying to get him hyped up and worked up because he's Kionians, which another stupid made up race just for this show. The Kionians are also sort of a warrior culture, and they have a way that they get themselves psyched up for battle. And so she's trying to get him to sort of let go and be a warrior, experience, letting go of all that anger and letting it out. And so he starts to say he's afraid, he's not going to do anything. And so he says, what we do when fear takes hold is we have battle breathing. And he has this little chant that he goes through, which, by the way, a chant is not breathing. Just
true.
To be technical, that's not breathing. It's a chant. He goes through this little battle chant, but then they get all up close and he's holding his hand while they do it. And they're staring into each other's eyes while he repeats this chant. And they say it over and over again. Oh, yes, they're holding hands. Oh, look at, yeah. Oh, they're getting so close and tender, Price. What's going to happen? Oh, is he going in for the kiss? Oh, what's going on? Is he gonna go in for some? They're so close, Price. They're gonna kiss.
This is so weird.
No, they don't kiss. No,
this is so weird.
We didn't get the gay kiss this time. It's so sad.
I mean, the thing is that they sort of hinted, although I didn't actually talk about it in my previous review. There's like a comment that like somebody's half joking if this guy had a relationship, the guy on the right, with a dude, and then he's
he is. You're talking about him, right?
Yeah.
No. In one scene, he talks about basically like he had a thing with a guy, like a long.
Is that in the locker room? What
before.
happens in the previous one?
Yes. In the previous episode,
was that
in the
locker room? Because like I didn't understand if he was like joking or if it's true, but I guess on this show there's no joke.
I think he was saying that he had some sort of fling with a dude in the past, with a guy. So sort of showing that he's pansexual, bisexual, whatever you want to call it, right? So they go back and they start their debate. Captain Ake, what's her name? She shows up wasted. She shows up.
Right. She says she has a hangover.
She asks if she has a hangover, and she says nope, and then she hiccups.
But
so she showed up drunk.
But didn't the Klingon leave?
Which
didn't the albino Klingon leave or no?
Yes, he did. Yeah, he transported away to go back to his ship after he was like, we wouldn't take your planet as charity. We would only take it if it were conquered.
So why would she be drunk? And he didn't.
Well, no, they were drinking together while she was talking with him about.
I see. Is it implied that they did naughty things together, or they not?
No, they just 3 sheets to the wind. Yeah, they got really drunk together. Yeah. So you see her, she's kind of drunk.
Thompson says Professor sounds like Cookie Monster when he does that Klingon voice.
Me want cookie. Me love Klingons. So yes, a blue faced lady here asks if she's hungover, and no, she says I'm not hungover, and then hiccuping, so clearly she's still quite drunk. But she came to this thing despite the fact that this is highly unprofessional. She should have just not come instead of showing up drunk in front of her students, but she's there anyway. They get started with the different cadets arguing against each other, kind of teaming up. They're one against one. We move on to the two main characters who are against each other. We get to see more extreme close-ups of Jaden here while he's sweating and trying to get his arguments out, and Caleb's running circles around him while he bumbles through. But then they start to get very personal. They're yelling at each other, about Starfleet does that, Klingons do this, whatever, and they get into a little tussle, or they sort of get close to it anyway. They get very, very personal, and they're getting warnings from the doctor about what they're allowed to do and not, and getting personal and whatnot. And then they are dismissed because they've breached the rules of the
What
debate.
Does he say? He's like, you stabbed your own people in the back, or I don't know what he says to him, or some weird
something of that nature. He says, because he argues, he says something about, he keeps telling them, Jaden keeps saying that the Klingons have to be part of this decision. The Klingons are important. They're the ones that have to make this decision here. And then he basically says, what Klingons? You're not a Klingon. You turned your back on your family. You left them behind. You turned your back on all their values and all of this stuff. Basically just tells him the truth. And he gets, of course, very mad about that because, I am a Klingon. No, you're not. You're not a Klingon. You have literally turned your back on everything and everything that Klingons stand for. You don't care about honor. You don't care about being a warrior. You don't care about any of this stuff, except that your pepperoni needs to have won a fair fight before you'll eat it. That's apparently the only thing he cares about. You get this ridiculous argument. They're up in each other's faces and they get dismissed. And so, we've got also amusingly earlier on in the episode, we did get this story about how there's only you have one Klingon. There's only one Klingon in Starfleet Academy. There's only one Klingon here, completely ignoring the fact that she's supposed to be half Klingon. Right?
That is funny, yeah.
She's half Klingon. Even though that's impossible because the Jem'Hadar can't have kids, but whatever.
That's why I forgot about it, because I actually I don't even consider her anything. So but now that you mentioned it, they supposedly said she's half Klingon. She doesn't really look half Klingon.
No, she looks almost entirely Jem'Hadar. There's very little about her that would tell you anything is Klingon. He kicks him out. Jaden goes back to his room, and she comes to talk to him, because, I should have been better. I should have, protected you. I should have, helped you because, I'm part Klingon. And then she goes on to, talking about she's part Klingon, and she talks about how her grandparents, they disavowed being Klingons. They dissolved, or left their house or whatever so that they could go not be Klingons. So she's not a Klingon either. She also lives completely outside of the code of Klingons, the honor code that they all live by. Not a Klingon.
But there's
anyway,
one thing.
Yes.
Drew Gordon says she's got the Discovery season 1 Klingon head ridges. But
perhaps.
What I'll say to you is here, there's the thing that probably was the dumbest in the whole episode, that she's just like, you didn't understand your father. Your father actually was trying to help you. You didn't even get it. That's the weirdest part.
Yeah. She says, she tells this story about, your father missed because, not because he was angry. When Klingons are angry, they wouldn't miss. That they're when they're angry.
I don't know
that
that's a thing. I never heard that before. That when they're angry, they don't miss.
It's not a thing. It isn't a thing. She also says she doesn't want to F it up when she comes to talk to him. So more contemporary language. Terrible.
Yeah.
He failed the hunt. He missed shooting the bird on purpose, so that gave him a way to let his son go. Okay, whatever. If anything, he would. The only thing he would be doing is just disowning his son and abandoning him there. So that he's no longer part of their house. He's been disavowed, but whatever, right? she tells this story. Oh yeah, I'm from a Klingon family, Klingon on my mother's side. My grandparents, they stopped being Klingons, whatever. So I'm a Klingon elder, but I'm not, because I don't represent anything that Klingons stand for. After that, he has this brilliant. Oh, by the way, the story about shooting the bird. I don't think he told her that story, but somehow she knows about it.
Yeah, I don't think he told her that story either, right?
Yeah. So a hunt is a battle. No, it's not. Makes your kills more satisfying. I believe your father honored the hunt by recognizing your victory and setting you free. Your father missed his shot. Whatever. Klingon warrior is surpassed only for his passion in life. But he never actually conveyed that story to her. He told it to somebody else. So how does she know about this story of his father missing the bird? It doesn't make sense. It's terrible writing. You can be a warrior not with weapons, but with words.
He told the story to Caleb or something.
Yeah,
Who did he tell
Caleb. He didn't tell it to her. He didn't tell it to her at all. But he says, "Get me back on that debate stage." Whatever. It's so stupid. So he goes back out there and he makes his little points about how, the Klingons have to be the ones to make the decision if they want something or not. There's their little tent made out of tusks or whatever that they're living in instead of living. Just look at how pathetic he looks, man. It's so bad. We get more of this, way too many lights shining right into the camera.
Why did this inspire? So now it inspired him. He has to debate again. This is so dumb. This is so fucking stupid, Professor.
It's so terrible. It's awful. They he says, well, if we're gonna be able to help the Klingons, we have, it needs to be their choice or whatever. And so it inspires the captain. She recognizes that there's a way to get them to, to allow them to conquer the planet or whatever. So they have I guess this is just the hologram again of the Admiral.
I guess so. Yeah, I think he's the.
He wasn't on the ship earlier, so I guess he's not on the ship now.
I love that they just do it. They don't even explain it. I don't understand why the school's a ship. Why is he here? Why is he not here? Nobody gives a shit. He's a hologram now. It's just like, don't even ask. Don't ask questions.
He calls. They call the albino Klingon leader dude, whatever. Why have you called me? Oh, we wanted to let you know that Klingon ships have been in this sector and for the security of our planet, we're not going to allow anyone in here. Any Klingon ship that comes through here will be considered an enemy vessel. And he says, "Oh, you're declaring war on the Klingons?" And they say, "Oh, you'll have to fight us if you want this planet." And this ridiculous. So they got a couple of ships here, and then. They get a few more. The USS Riker is one that's called out in here. More member berries. They got a bunch of these ships that all fly in, and ridiculous looking ships. Most of them, by the way. They all zoom in so that they can fight, and then all the Klingons show up in their ships here, which, by the way, I will point out there's a bunch of these ships that they do look like they're old, right? They're not like new versions of the ships. They are very clearly like older looking designs for the ships. And in fact, some of them actually look like they might actually be Jim Hadar ships that maybe have been repurposed or something, which is interesting. But a lot of these designs do look old, so that at least is consistent. They're like, if there has been this diaspora, they haven't been able to build their own ships for a long time. They're using old tech. They're using old ships. At least they went the right direction with that. But so then, yeah, they start a fight with And tell them, oh, put on a show. Don't actually shoot their ships, right? Make sure that you fire at them, but you got to miss them, right? So they're putting on a show. They're faking it. For a Klingon's honor, they would be furious for someone to throw a fight.
They would hate that. And not only that, if the Klingons wouldn't be like, pussyfooting around either. If they thought it was a real battle, they'd hit them,
Yeah.
Or you're saying it's old ships so they can't hit them. I don't know.
I think there is an element here that they're trying to get across that the Klingons are actually attacking them, but maybe not doing a lot of damage because they are in old ships, and some of them are more like civilian ships. Because they do say, they take some damage, and you can just kind of see it like splashing off their shields.
But that would have been, that's an extra level, which if I would have heard somebody say, hey, aren't you worried they're going to fight back? Then just say, listen, they can give us like everything they got, and our technology is so much more superior that they can't really cause real damage, but we can give them the impression that they caused more damage than they did, and perhaps in a feeling that they're like the big victors, they'll accept this thing. But nobody is even bothering to explain it. You know what I mean? They're just like, and not only that, the fact that she's like sleeping with the main albino guy, and he's like wearing a sweater from Sears, and like then he comes in and like he knows exactly what happens. Everybody understands that they just did this because like as out of pity, like a pity fight. You know what I mean? That's what they did, the whole thing, just to make them feel good about themselves. And then he comes on the ship and he's like, "You're a real warrior now," to like that jerk off Klingon.
Yeah.
No, he's not. He didn't do anything worthy of a warrior. Why? Because he did this stupid like Home Alone thing. What the fuck? He's not a warrior.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go
on. They've got their little ship flying around. It's lost its absorbent wings. They're not on there. Just the dish flying around. But okay. You see some of the other ships in the battle. But you see like especially we see this design here. This one down here. These do look like pretty old ships. They look like designs that we saw back in like TNG or DS9. So at least they were kind of consistent with that idea. But yes, they're firing on the ships, and they say, we're taking a lot of hits, and then they say something like our shields are at 94% or something, right? So I think the implication was not that the Klingons were pulling their punches. The Klingons were actually shooting them, but they were not particularly effective because they were in old ships. But I could be wrong. I may just be reading into that. But the Starfleet ships were absolutely pulling their punches. They were missing on purpose. All sorts of deception there, which a Klingon recognizing that would be furious, right? That they weren't actually fighting to win. They were sort of giving up. But yes, we seize the planet as the spoils of war. Yes, yep, exactly what I said would happen. They're going to use some BS reverse psychology thing to be like, oh look, they conquered the planet, Price. they conquered it, so it's theirs now.
Yeah, so stupid.
So dumb.
Like they were going to give them this planet. And listen, also they were going to give them this planet anyway. So it's obvious that this is just a ploy now. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They already told them we want to give you this planet, so they know that they wanted to give it, and they know that they didn't want to take it. Unless they're trying to say that Holly Hunter only told the albino guy she was sleeping with that they wanted to give them the planet, and the others didn't know.
Yeah, no telling, right? But
it's not well explained. If nothing else, it's not well explained.
Yeah, Fawn Alpha is now Klingon. Oh, okay. So they, and then they took no casualties. They invite the leader. He holograms, beams over. I don't know, something. Yeah, I guess he beams over because he brings him the weapon of a warrior, which in this case is a bow. Which once again, if you were going to present him with some sort of ceremonial weapon, as a Klingon, it would have been a batleth, because that is the ceremonial weapon of a warrior, not some stupid bow with knives that stick out of it. That's not.
Not only that, I don't think this guy's a warrior. This is like one of those participation awards. Like,
exactly.
why are they giving him this?
It's a participation trophy.
It's a participation award. He's nothing. He's not a Klingon. He didn't do anything that he was supposed to do. And like what? Because he helped fool the people and make them feel stupid that this is such bullshit. This is, instead of like having the Klingons be Klingons, this is like everybody's pitying them because they're just such jerk-offs that they just are just trying to, for their own benefit, they're like idiots and they're trying to make them feel good. And then this guy gets a participation award. Just ridiculous.
It's quite ridiculous. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible, and makes no sense whatsoever with anything that we know of Klingon culture that's been established across hundreds of episodes of television. They just throw it all out the window. It's dumb. It makes no sense. He gets to go eat his sits with Caleb and eats the Klingon
warrior, now we can eat the stew together.
Warrior stew made of entrails that are cooked, even though Klingons prefer their food uncooked. And apparently it's too spicy for this wuss. So, yeah. Anyway, Caleb has fixed up his little thingy, and we see, look, they don't really make a deal out of this, but see, he won the trophy for the debate. Right, he's got his little debate trophy there. So Caleb has fixed the little doodad that does the
sensitive thing. Klingon won the trophy. He was the best debater after all.
It would appear so. He's got the trophy.
Ugh.
I don't think that's Caleb that's sitting closer to him. See right there.
And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. You will remind me of your brother, of my brother, blah, blah, blah."
Yeah. Yeah. I doubt we could read anything on the trophy at this resolution, but yeah. That, anyway. Oh, don't play it.
Oh, wait. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, time to make your own path, leading diplomatic missions, blah, blah, blah. Ugh, the end of this dreadful episode, destroying, every bit of, every bit of culture that was established for the Klingons, just completely ruining, so many different things about who the Klingons were and their purpose in the universe of Star Trek. As I said earlier tonight on when we were talking on show with Robot Head, like the purpose of all of these different races was that they were meant to be representative of different aspects of human cultures and human natures, and sort of taking those and blowing those up, making those sort of bigger than life. So, taking the idea of a warrior culture and then saying, well, it's not just the Spartans. It's not just this little group of Greeks over here. No, it's an entire culture, dominates an entire planet. It's a philosophy that this entire society with this planet-wide group of people, they all live by this code. And then you have other groups like the Ferengi, or you have other groups, from other areas like the Vulcans, where they're taking some idea to an extreme. And so it allows us to look at and examine those ideas from a human perspective, thinking about what those mean to us and how those conflict with certain ideas that we have while they reinforce others. It's how you explore human nature is through this mirror of these other cultures that represent some specific parts of human nature. They just completely ruin that. Now every character's human. They're all pansexual. They all have the same hookups. They all have the same ideas. It's just different forehead makeup.
They destroyed the Klingons in one episode. They just took the entire idea of what a Klingon is and destroyed every aspect.
Yeah, just threw it out. Just completely
threw it out.
Completely threw it out.
They're two dudes with one woman, I can't believe it. The two dudes with one woman, that goes against anything that I would ever believe on Klingons. Klingons is like such a big ego. You think that he's going to share his woman with another dude? I don't understand like where they came up. And the only reason they did this is to sort of demasculate the Klingon. You know what I mean? To make them like
that's
pussies.
of course, yeah.
That's the only reason they did that. There's no other reason.
Karate Werewolf in the chat says the Klingons would be very problematic for the writers. Patriarchal, masculine warrior society based on honor. Yeah, they can't possibly support that. They can't possibly, actually present that as it was presented in the earlier episodes. In the earlier series, right? It's impossible.
I mean, listen, if you don't like what it is, then don't fucking do it. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't like this show, if you don't like this franchise, it's the same thing that we see with all the other ones. If you don't like what it is, if you think that you are offended by what it is, don't fucking do it. Go do something else. Then you're not worthy of doing this. You know, this is for people who are not offended by it. And really, it's not like you brought something new and good to the table. There's no world, I don't care what the Mary Sue says, there's no world where anybody that like respects themselves on any writing level will look at what happens on this show and say, yep, this is really good work. This is not a matter of opinion. It's not a matter of taste. This is an embarrassing show that's poorly written. Now, maybe some people like poorly written stuff. Obviously not enough because nobody's watching this show. But this is not well written. This is just absolute garbage.
It is Sorry, that Sean. Exactly. There is one more thing before we move on. Before we can talk about something else or get out of here, whatever we're ready to do. But there is something that has driven me insane in these episodes that I have watched, and they did it multiple times in this episode as well. I do not get this. They repeatedly, not just the commander, whatever, the Ake captain, whatever she is, but other characters as well have repeatedly referred to all of the Starfleet cadets as zygotes. What the hell? Why are they referring to their students as zygotes?
I don't know. I don't even know what why are they saying that? What do you think?
Here's my only thought, Price. A zygote is a fertilized cell, is a fertilized egg. I think the only thing I can think of is the reason they're calling them zygotes is so if they get killed, they can just mark it off as a preemptive abortion.
I see.
A very late term abortion, perhaps.
Yeah, I
don't know. It's stupid. It is the dumbest thing. We're walking around. We're going to call our students who are supposed to be grown adults who are, coming in to learn about being, commanders, learn about how to be, diplomats and all of these skills are supposed to learn at Starfleet Academy. And we're going to have some really ridiculous sort of dismissive name and call them zygotes. What? I don't, it's so dumb. I don't get it.
Kayla Levine says, is it possible to have a night owl where Star Trek or the Beatles aren't an hour-long topic? Well,
absolutely not.
Right now, this is very relevant, this whole Star Trek thing. So I think that, we can't ignore what's going on. The Beatles are also an important topic that we talk about. Yeah. But yeah, the Zeitgeist thing that you're talking about, it probably, why they probably call them that? Because she keeps telling everybody, oh, look, they're such poor, young children that we're helping. Like she's not treating them like people that arrived at a military type of academy. She's treating them as like, oh, look at these kids, look at the difficult lives they went through. So that's why she's calling them that. Maybe to show that she sees them as as kids that she can help nurture or some shit like that. Sorry, Sean.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just such a weird term to pick. And again, it's not just her. Like if it was just her, she's a freak. She's some sort of weird hippie weirdo. Like if it were just her calling them that, it'd be like, well, she's a hippie weirdo. but the other characters are doing it too. The Doctor says it at one point in this episode. It's like,
Yeah, it's very
stop.
strange.
It's so weird. Asking, talking about Star Trek for an hour. Trust me, guys, I would love to come on here and say, we saw the new episode of Star Trek this week. It's so good. I don't want to ruin it for you. We'll talk about it next week. Go watch it yourself. I would, you really need to go see it. We don't get to say that. I think we got maybe one or two super chats here.
We did? Okay, hold on 1 second. We got one. Oh boy. This one's going to be a difficult one for me. But I got to read it. Read it very carefully, but I got to read it. Hold on. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. The Cookie Monster of the Night Owl. Hold on. Okay. David Ellison is a closeted Fargate. He does have a lot of gates for sure.
David Ellison is a closeted Fargate.
He lives in a gated community, that's for sure.
Yes.
He is a closeted gated community person. The gate from his house is very far. I can't wait price for what? I don't know what you can't wait for. Oh, okay. One thing I wanted to just show you, it's like 1 second and then we can wrap it up. I'm just trying to find so we had this thing where, they shared the first images, and I remember you telling me earlier that you don't care about this movie with Henry Cavill as Highlander. I guess they released some photos.
Honestly, I think these photos look good. I think that Cavill looks great here. I don't want a remake of this story. I don't think they can do any better than the original film. And I know the original film's not perfect. It's pretty campy, pretty ridiculous in some spaces, but there's a lot to love about it.
Sometimes you can get away with a movie in a certain time in a certain moment in pop culture.
Exactly.
Highlander is a movie that is very 80s, very of its time.
Yes.
If you really stop to think about it, there are a lot of questions that arise from such a movie. It's a movie that, it had so many things actually that don't make sense and possibly even work against it, but there's some kind of charm of the time, of the moment, of the Queen's soundtrack, of Sean Connery, things that elevate this movie into being something, and like you said, Clancy Brown, a lot of things that kind of elevate the movie from something that could have been a huge misfire to something that kind of comes off as charming and iconic. But we've seen so many times over the years that they can't really recreate that magic. So I agree with you, Professor. Maybe it's best they don't try. I like Henry Cavill. I like seeing him in movies. I like seeing him in movies that like he does cool shit in. And if there's any reason why I would check out this movie, it's for that. But you said it. I didn't even remember that. What's his name? Dave Bautista is going to be the villain, because I don't buy him at all. I don't buy him as the villain. 100% I don't buy him.
No, not at all. And here's the thing too, like everyone thinks, or a lot of people anyway, think Dave Bautista, and they think Guardians of the Galaxy Dave Bautista. They think wrestler Dave Bautista. Have you seen him lately? He has lost a ton of
like
mass.
500 pounds, yeah.
He is half the dude he used to be. And he does not look particularly intimidating. He does not look particularly scary. And as far as his acting is concerned,
yeah,
I don't think it exists.
No, I don't think
there is acting.
he was all right as as Jax or Dax or whatever it is. What's the name of the character? Is it Jax? What is it?
Oh,
Dax.
No, it's not Dax. Now you got me all mixed up. Drax. Yeah. It's like, wait, no, Dax. What? No.
Drax, whatever. You
Drax. Yes, Drax the Destroyer. Yes.
know,
As
you know what I'm trying to say.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. He's fit. He's solid when he's in that movie playing Drax. He looks good.
Right.
Even with all the makeup and everything on that he's got, he looks really good. And I'm just saying, like, if you've seen him lately,
I have, yeah.
like he has lost an enormous amount of mass. He is real. I mean, someone has said he's skinny. Like, he's at least half of the mass that he used to be. Like, he does not seem to be nearly as bulked and as intimidating as he once was. So, and again, as I said, on top of it, that's not even all of it. It's as fun as he was as Drax in that movie, he didn't really have to do a lot of acting. It was mostly just him kind of being a goof and delivering silly lines. And it didn't matter if he delivered them well, because the character he's not like an eloquent speaker.
No,
so
he's kind of a buffoon.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, exactly.
Buffoon, so it works, yeah.
So it worked. I'm sorry, I've not seen him in anything where I thought he was really like an actor that I'm like, oh, I want to see his very serious and moving performance as an actor, right? He's just kind of a lunkhead.
Marla Sharendorf seems to agree with you. New Highlander? Why? Yeah, I agree. And I think that that's a good way to leave it off. I'm still going to give it a chance because I like Henry Cavill, but it's not a movie that I necessarily needed. I would have been happier if they just called something else, did something else, and still gave Henry Cavill a cool movie to make, which they should have done a long time ago. But it is what it is. I'll watch it, but who knows? In any case, I think that we've gone over all the topics that we wanted to go over today. And if you have the list of people...
Yeah, let me see. I think I've got everyone
and
here.
We can say our goodbyes to people.
From the Rumbles. Let me double check here. Yeah, here's the Rumble list. Should have everybody there. Oh, almost dropped the stream. Oops. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Totalitarian, Phantom Monk, Angelo, DD, Citizen 42, Elizabeth Quince, Liddy, Dude Bro Seth 420, Cheers, Hair Juicer, 3K.
Yeah, over on YouTube, we had the Dead Man, Mages Guild, Darren M, all of sending super chats this evening. Thank you for those. Jason Webster, Caleb Levine, The Real Head Case, Karate Werewolf, Badfoot, Tomahawk 511, Barry F, Phantom Outsider, Strugun, Whalem 03, Gavin Blackburn, Marla Sharendorf, Yitis, Adam Gray, Richard 006 PC, Tex Rogers, Space Rebel 6, Jade is for you, E. Clay Thomason, Pete Roble, Istophobos, Drew Gordon, Tim Hayes, K. Roberts, Mr. X51 HHJ, Roy Nusser, Jonathan Conroy, Coda Rob 22, DJ McCullough, Mob 1901, Dr. Balls. I'm sorry, that's great. Dr. Balls, love it. Lucy Meow, Tony Grigio, Andrew Zacchaeus, Mary White, Samsung, and Robnod Scoobla. So thank you all for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. And then, special shout out to those who dropped some super chats tonight. Deadman, Mages Guild, Darren M, and Jason Webster, and Karate Werewolf. So thank you so much for your support this evening.
Thank you to everybody. Thank you to you, Professor. And it's been a great evening and really enjoyed this stream. And thank you all for hanging out with us. We'll see you again. Today is Thursday, right? We'll see you again on Tuesday.
Yep. And then tomorrow night, I'll be joining Adam Gray and the rest of the B-Sides crew. Apparently, we're watching some weird gorilla movies. I don't know. Adam can tell you all about that later on.
Well, it sounds fun to me.
Having some fun watching some stuff tomorrow night on B-Sides over on
and of course,
Stage.
Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I was finished.
Oh,
Yep.
And of course, if you haven't subscribed, you should do it. Like and subscribe. And if you're on Rumble, open the account and follow. All that good stuff that I usually say. So do that. And yeah, I guess we'll see you here on Tuesday.
Yep. Take care, everyone.
Bye.